Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Mile High Game Guys board gaming podcast. I'm your host Adrian.
I'm Zach.
And I am Jeff.
And we are coming to you after a long delay with some much needed, much anticipated board game content.
You call it a delay. I call it a break.
Yeah, just because it was unanticipated.
Yes.
You know, it's not like a month ago we were like, "Hey, we're going to take a month off."
No.
We really just ghosted everyone. Is what happened.
Well, and especially because we're like, "Oh, don't worry, when we go to Gencon, we can record stuff there every night like we used to."
Yeah.
And then 2 years really changes how interested I am in doing that.
Also, like how much there is to talk about while doing that.
Yeah.
And then like just how everything was shaped around it.
Yeah.
It was a weird year.
Yeah. Well, you know, I think there was some discussion of like, hey, you guys have all the remote recording stuff, right? You can do a little twofer, little twofer when you get back.
Yeah, we could.
And then we didn't want to bother Megan because you weren't here. And
but again, the point was you had all the remote recording equipment. You didn't need to come here.
No.
So
Superman
regardless,
here.
break, unanticipated absence.
And then you were gone in Costa Rica for 3 weeks.
I was gone an extra week more than anticipated because I got down there. I worked for a week and they were like, hey,
let's do this again.
we would like you
keep on keeping on.
Keep doing this for us.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There we go.
We're also all drinking on the podcast for the first time in a very long time.
These doesn't mean we haven't been drinking before the podcast at every time.
No, we chilled out a little on the drunken podcasting.
I'm drinking a Daybreak from Wolf's Ridge. On the can, they put the GABF medals, a 2021 gold coffee beer, and then a 2019 silver coffee beer.
Oh. I am also drinking Wolf Ridge.
I'm drinking one of the best coffee beers in the country.
I'm drinking the Pack IPA from Wolf Ridge. No medals on this can at all.
It's got 2 medals, but it's no 2021 silver GABF Stampede Lager medal like we won. So
yeah.
No.
What about you? What are you drinking over there?
Just
Zach?
something pretentious.
It's actually literally the name.
Pretentious Barrel House. An American sour Tamarius. It's a.
Are you just naming college football players?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Tangy apricot and savory Szechuan peppercorn sour.
Szechuan?
These 3 beers come courtesy of friend and fan of the show, Matt from Ohio, originally from New Jersey.
Who you played games with at Geekway?
Yes. Hung out with him at Geekway. Traded him a bunch of local beers from here. I basically cleared out all of the remaining Avery. It
was mine. It was all my beer I brought you, wasn't it?
A lot of Bologna. No, I went down and raided my cellar too. My crawl space.
Yeah.
So I pulled out like an old. Granted, it was a lot of beer that I got like in conjunction with you because a lot of it was epic stuff that I've pilfered over the years.
It's probably also mine. Yeah.
I mean, I pilfered a lot of epic stuff when I worked there.
Yeah. Maybe ratio someday. I don't know.
Yeah. So
hope I have no coworkers listening to this. Roro.
But yeah, so I traded some beer. We'll talk about.
I can cut it out for a price.
We'll talk about some of that
or
stuff
I can
a little
just
bit
have
later.
it on repeat and just louder and
just forwarding it to @Avery.
Hey, we're spreading the good word.
Absolutely.
It's marketing. Anyhow, enough of that. That's your engagement period right there. So this is a board gaming podcast.
We will be skipping news and Kickstarters this evening.
Yep.
And we will just be talking about our last 5 weeks of conventions and traveling and more conventions.
Yep. So format's going to be a little bit different. We're going to kind of vaguely go chronological in that I'm going to cut these 2 loose on some Gencon shenanigans because they went to Gencon about the same time I flew to Costa Rica.
Yeah.
Then we're going to do some banter where I'm going to talk a little bit about Costa Rica. It actually wasn't very exciting, so I don't have a lot to talk about.
And then we'll be talking about the video games that we binged.
Yeah, video game binging in the banter section there.
Yes.
And then I'll wrap it up with some Geekway chat. And then
which was just last week.
Yep. And then we'll do a little bit of listener feedback, and then we'll get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
So that's the plan. We'll see how it goes.
And that's your contents.
Yeah. Expectations have been set. The show starts now. Would you guys like to take it away?
Jeff?
Boy.
Since you're the one with the paper with notes written out, you
I
can
do.
be the one to guide us.
So I flew out to Gencon to Chicago the Tuesday before and had like a family day to also get the car that we would be driving down, borrowed the family car. And then that Wednesday, I picked up Zach and Wes from the MHGG fame, of course.
Yes.
We flew in the morning, and the last time we went to we flew to Chicago for Gen Con. We ended up going to the wrong, quote unquote, wrong spot. Like I went to departures instead of arrivals.
Yes,
since that's
you went
where
upstairs instead of downstairs.
Since that's what I normally do when I pick up people from the airport. Because
O'Hare does not work like that.
Okay,
it should not work like that.
Right.
This time
we're like, all right, we didn't fuck it up. We're here at arrivals. But we're like, man, this just doesn't look like the arrivals that I remember. And there's not that many people here. There is not, like, it is not. When you think of arrivals at O'Hare, it was not what we had. We're like, Jeff, something's amiss.
I was like, why the fuck are you at international arrivals?
Yeah.
They were at the international terminal, and I was like, Terminal 5? What the fuck are you doing at Terminal 5?
And that's where Southwest was like, hey, we're going to drop some people off here, so here you go.
Yeah. So all the other terminals are under construction right now, so they're spreading out the load, especially because there's not as much international travel right now.
Sure.
And they dumped them off at the international terminal, and I was like, well, that's a completely different route that I was expecting, and I had to go around again to get to the international terminal instead of the 3 regular.
But hey, a lot less traffic.
Yeah.
So
extremely less traffic.
There you go.
And like the terminal for the international terminal just like empties onto like city streets. It's not like onto the highway or anything like that. But I did inevitably get them picked up.
Yep.
And then we went to the traditional lunch spot of Pequod's, which opened up. I think I picked you guys up at like a little like 10:30ish.
Yeah.
Something like that. And we drove into the city once again and went to Pequod's, the best pizza spot in Chicago, in my opinion. It is not Chicago-style pizza. Note number 1. So it is not Chicago-style pizza.
It's a pan pizza.
So
it's more of a Detroit kind of.
Is it a controversial statement for you to claim that a non-deep dish pizza is the best pizza in Chicago?
No.
So people would agree with you.
People that know about it would agree with me, yes.
Okay.
Yes, Pequod's is one of the best pizza places in Chicago, hands down.
Okay.
That's a different statement, though, than the best pizza in Chicago.
Yeah,
it is not the best.
It
is not the best Chicago-style deep dish in Chicago because they do not serve that style.
In fact, if you got that expecting deep dish, you'd be like, "What the fuck's going on?
Yes.
Why can I hold this in my hand?
Yes,
this is garbage."
Like a regular pizza, which means Zach, I think, continues his streak of never having Chicago-style deep dish.
That's true.
Yeah,
still haven't had it.
Yeah.
Like
never had it.
Like not even like here in Denver at the Denver pizza place or whatever that did deep dish.
Giordano's, I think, is a spot. No. Walter's has some good Chicago style deep dish actually. Anyway, we went there. It was delicious, and then we went to Indianapolis.
Yep.
Then we checked in the hotel, and then we went and took an Uber. Did we do Uber?
Lyft. We did Lyft.
Lifted.
I am fairly certain that level of detail is not expected.
It wasn't a Lyft XL. It was
was it an actual SUV or was it more of a crossover?
You know what? It actually was a nice car that we went.
Yeah, that one was I remembered what it was. It's
at the time you were like,
this
is
it was an SUV with a 3rd row seat in the back.
Oh, that's right, because we had to let like
Pilot
in the
Honda Pilot, maybe.
Yeah, it had one of those where you have to like you can't get in the back unless you like tilt the seat down and let someone crawl into the back.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Yeah, it was fine.
It's fine.
We did the Wednesday Georgia Street Beer Fest thing.
Drunken shenanigans.
Yes. We went. Some of us went hard koozie. Some of us did not go hard koozie. Would we
Wes.
all like? Yeah. Wes did not get koozies.
No.
I got 2 koozies for my double fisting.
Same here.
I thought you only got 1 koozie.
No, I got 2.
You got 2? Okay.
Yeah.
And then Wes got like no koozies for
like
his 1 beer, like an idiot.
Yeah, what the hell?
They had the same beer. Sun King was doing the beer of the con again. It was the same beer as 2019, the Genevieve Belgian.
I thought that was
Amber.
the 2021 that they ended up releasing.
Oh,
but
yeah. I think they did 2019 and 2020. Maybe they did 2020, 2021.
No, the 2019 one was the.
Was that the
It was like a malted something.
golden
yeah.
tart ale or something
Yeah.
like that? Well, they did the 2020 again then, which was still delicious. Also, we're in the universe of 19.2 ounce cans. So they had like 19.2 versions of their beers, which is like
I was not expecting
weird
that.
and new that
Yeah.
people don't really know about.
Wait, so what? Why?
16 ounce can, same width,
Just taller.
taller, 19.2 ounce instead of 16 ounce.
So a 16 ounce can is also the same size as a 12, like width as a 12 ounce.
Yes,
Often.
but
Yeah.
now,
So instead
now
of-
make it even taller.
So instead
That's
of
a
like here,
19.2.
it's like there.
Why?
And it was
because
fu-
that's been the popular thing so far.
So when
Avery,
you had the beer, it was like when you got the koozies, it's like half of the beer is koozied, and the other half is just in the
in
elements.
the air,
Yeah.
yes, it's like twice as tall as your regular 12 ounce can.
Yeah.
I didn't know this was a thing.
Yeah, 19.2 has been a big thing the past year or two.
Now you know.
A lot of stadiums use it and venues and such.
Weird.
COVID really put a hamper on that release for everybody,
Yeah.
so not everybody really knows like they should.
Avery people were like, let's do 19.2s. And then our packaging managers were like, our canner can't do 19.2s, so fucking stop it. Like, you can't. No. Let's get a new canner. How many millions of dollars do you want to spend on get 19.2 cans? Because that's what you got to do. And everyone's like, okay, I guess we're going back to 16.
Does Avery make much 16 ounce stuff?
Yeah.
The barrel aged sours are 16, right?
Yeah, the barrel aged sour, the vanilla bean stout. We do a Rascal 16 ounce, and then Stampede, which is our CU Buffs licensed lager.
The award-winning?
silver
Yeah.
medal GABF winning is in 16 ounces at the stadium. You can't actually get that anywhere outside the stadium at 16 ounces.
Anyway,
They suck. So who cares? The beer's the best part about that football team. And so we had some beers there. We wandered where we could in the convention hall.
We tried to get the coupon book, and then it was like, oh, you need your badges. And we're
We
like,
didn't bring the badges.
We left the badges at home because
the badges were in the hotel room.
Yeah.
And they were like, you can't pick up this coupon book unless you have a badge. And we're like, okay, see you tomorrow. Then we went to Kilroy's because Wednesday is still, I don't think that menu has changed in 2 years. That menu is still Wednesday, half off drink night. So we did multiple 32 ounce Long Islands flavored of various types.
We only did 2 of them because Wes and I only got like 3 hours sleep. So we were tired because we had that and then the trip and like the flight and then the drive here and then the beer and then 8 shots of liquor in those Long Island iced teas. And it was like, I'm tired. I want to go.
And it was like 9 to 10, which is my bedtime anyways.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay.
He was disappointed that we didn't try and drink out the place. So,
Which is what the real goal
Look,
is. But
maybe the next time I just also fly there fucking Tuesday night, so I don't have to worry about getting up early on
you
Wednesday.
can go sleep on CJ's couch.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was our Wednesday. It was a good Wednesday.
Okay.
They had the same Georgia Street thing, tons of food trucks. No real band this year. All of their DJ that was like the DJ of choice for like the opening stuff, they did just like streaming like concert stuff.
okay.
I don't think I'm not sure if they were live at the convention at all. But yeah, that was pre-day one.
Okay.
So then
Day one.
Thursday, convention hall, looking on Twitter, about an hour beforehand, the usual shoulder-to-shoulder nerd wave was extremely thin.
Comparatively, but still enough to make people be like, I can't believe they allowed them to do that.
Just at right about when they were about to open, it got a little more crowded, but still probably half or less to what there would usually be in that hall at no point during the day-to-day convention was I ever like, boy, I can barely move down these hallways because there's so many people here and they have to have whole traffic lanes going this way or that way because there are so many tens of thousands of people here. It was like, I can move whichever direction I want at any time I want because there are so few people here this year.
And there were a lot more like empty spots,
like booth spots
that you could just sort of like get out of the way of the line.
Well,
like,
even just outside the hall, when people are just trying to travel in the convention center, not even the expo hall, it's just like so different.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was extremely empty to usual years. I think they called the attendance 35,000.
Yeah.
And that was half attendance from last year. And I think their cap was actually 60% attendance. So I don't think they even hit whatever their capacity was.
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
And I'm sure at least part of it was that, like it was masks were required, but you didn't have to get a vaccine. You didn't have to be.
There was no vaccine mandate. Masks were required. And what they had put out was Indianapolis health law could not let them put a vaccine mandate at the time. People have pushed back against that to be like, well, these other places couldn't do that, and they put in a vaccine mandate anyways. And I think Gen Con was just was early and safe about trying to call those things.
Yeah. But I will say, when we were going through, I didn't see especially in the place where it was high traffic, everyone was having masks on the whole time. Like I didn't see anybody like trying to do a fake mask, or like have it pulled in a weird way to be like
everyone was
annoying, but like compliant or anything like that. Maybe you had like someone taking out to like scratch their nose or something like that, but that was about it.
Everyone was hard masked the whole time. No real complaints about
hard
anyone.
mask, hard koozie.
Yeah.
Yes. What if we made masks out of koozies?
They'd be very hard to breathe through.
Yes.
But your face would be quite warm.
Yeah. Moist. Really high humidity inside the koozie mask. But yeah, everyone was doing a lot of masks. There wasn't that many people. Also, there wasn't that many board game companies there.
You could tell immediately that like the big ones weren't there, right? Well, basically, you could tell that
the expo hall was like 60% as big as it normally would. They had like curtains on the edges where normally it would be hard fucking walls because that's the edge of the convention expo hall. So much so that they even had their huge like ceiling length doors that they have. They even blocked off a whole corner.
Whole corner. They were just like, nope, you know what? We're not going to do that
because we have doors that can come out this far.
Yeah. But yeah, so not only could you just tell that there weren't those big spaces for the bigger companies, but they were also just confining it, just sort of cutting it off near the top of it.
Yeah, the edges were very cut in.
Yeah,
interesting. Wonder what the idea was there.
Because they did not have enough companies to fill the space.
Yes,
and even the space they still had entire huge booth cubes that just had like, hey, we've got this giant sign that says Gencon in storage. Let's just put that there. Or this huge dragon thing. And there was multiples of those all over the...
and there were at least a couple companies that pulled out at the last minute.
That had space and then didn't show up.
Yep.
Wes's Level Up Dice company didn't even show. They had a booth. They had the name tag there, but they did not show up to set up their booth that year.
They also did a lot less demos on the
expo hall.
The expo hall.
So a lot of the demos for the convention were actually limited to ticketed events for the demos. So if you wanted a demo, it was usually long gone. Had you not known that you needed a fucking ticket to get into the demo of the game you wanted to play. There were live demos here and there. Pandasaurus was doing live demos of their stuff. Who's the Merchants Dark Road? Elf Creek Games was doing a couple demos of theirs. What's your stupid anime Kingdom Death thing called? Madara?
Madara, yeah.
No, it's not. Is it Madara?
Yeah, but they weren't showing. They were just showing it. They were doing ticketed ones, but nothing.
I see.
We could actually play it.
Yeah.
So,
Um,
but it was it was small enough that normally I feel like on a normal Gen Con, I'd be like, well, one day I'm going to go and look at a lot of stuff, and the next day I'm still going to go look at a lot of stuff that I didn't see. Like, you couldn't cover it all in one day. I feel like I got the majority of it. I got on the first day of us looking through.
Yeah. Okay. There wasn't like a whole lot to see there
comparatively.
Okay.
Yeah.
The Robo Rally, the like huge life-size Robo Rally was there with the actual programming and stuff, which was cool.
Nice.
The giant card towers of Magic cards. The charity event was there. The balloon charity event was there. Kind of all the things I remember. But like Czech Games Edition wasn't even on the show floor. They had rented out like a ballroom across from the show floor to like do all their stuff in, which was neat.
Yeah, so they had their actual like their own little store there. You could buy some stuff, and then they had
because the Galaxy Truckers new art edition came out there.
Oh, okay.
Which I picked up.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. It was, that part was, pretty good. It was just nice going around looking at some of that stuff. The coupon book that we ended up grabbing was a lot smaller than last year's or previous years.
Like
that makes sense.
Significantly smaller.
And the amount of free dice you got was basically nothing unless you bought stuff.
Yeah. There was no free dice. It was like, come buy things and we'll give you a free die.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah. Fantasy Flight wasn't there, but they did have some of their new stuff there through another booth. So they had Unfathomable, which you could buy, which is the new Arkham Battlestar Galactica retheme re-implementation.
I think they sold it on Friday. They released it.
The Marvel Champions Nebula deck was there.
Actually bought that.
Bought that because that was brand new.
Yep.
I want to say, because they released the Gamora Marvel Champions deck much earlier. So the Nebula deck, because I'm not sure they realized or didn't plan or didn't want to spoil Nebula coming out, Nebula has a card for the Gamora deck for their team up thing in it, because it comes with 2 copies of it. So you can put that in the Gamora deck so they can both have the team up keyword.
Sure.
Which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, I guess that's an interesting way to kind of solve that.
Because Nebula was a villain in the campaign, or will be a villain in the camp. I don't remember if she was in the Guardians one or if she's going to be in the Thanos one.
I think she is in the Guardian one.
Yeah. So they didn't want to spoil her being a villain and a hero, I guess. One of my old board game stores from like Mount Prospect, Illinois was there, Games Plus. They have a ton of like really old stuff that they usually put in there, especially a lot of old like wargaming things like the old Gen Con used to be, because they have been around for many decades, like Gen Con has, when Gen Con was like revolutionary and Napoleonic wargaming focused, which it is very much not anymore. But
I'm glad it's moved on.
Yeah. It was still there. I mean, people were playing that at Gen Con this year because, of course, they were.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So it was a very, very different convention. It was much smaller, much lower attendance, but still kind of Gen Con. But we still did the board game library, which was in the convention center and not across the street in the Colts Stadium. They didn't have that this year.
It was in a ballroom upstairs.
Yeah, partially because the Colts actually played that weekend.
Yes, they actually were playing, because this is usually, a month and a half earlier.
Yeah, and probably because of the reduced size, they were like, we don't fucking need.
Yeah.
But the room that they had the library in was significantly large enough for it.
Yeah. I mean,
but the downside is the convention center, due to COVID, is actually closed from midnight to 7 a.m., where it would normally be open 24 hours.
So it was very weird, like leaving at midnight and just seeing it like empty.
Yeah.
Because you usually leave at midnight and there's still tens of thousands of people there.
Yeah.
Like that events hall was still there, or like the big table hall that's right next to the expo hall, that would still have, tens of thousands of people in there all night long. Like that first year we went and they forgot to keep the lights on after midnight. And it got pitch black.
Trying to play XCOM with the light of the tablet that was running the app. Yep,
yeah.
I remember that.
That was still there and still fairly large. I didn't I didn't notice a reduced size of that room. It was still a ton of people there playing, but they did have open game space in that area, like for people that wanted to play games on tables in there too, where you wouldn't have to go to the library and pay a ticket price just to play the game that you bought there.
Yeah.
Which normally we'd be trying to find just like a barren, low attendance area in that room to be like, we're going to play here. And someone would come up and be like, well, we have an RPG event in like 90 minutes here. If you guys going to be like, we'll be out. It's fine.
Yeah.
They're usually...
This is reserved for the specialty Catan tournament, please.
Yes. Yeah, exactly like that. 100%.
Yeah.
So yeah, we went to the library, and that's kind of where we spent most of the convention. As soon as the library window opened, which I think was 4 p.m.
Yeah, so they normally do 8-hour like shifts of it.
Yeah.
And it's like once you're so it's 4 to 12, and then 8, 10 to 10 to 4, or was it?
Something like that.
Some crossover, but it was.
And they also had like a full access pass, but you would have to literally go to it at all times in every session to make it worth having the pass, because it was the exact same price, maybe $1 off.
It was $44 for the entire time. And if you went there for 8 hours in the night, like each night, it was $10. So that's $40 for Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, and then Sunday. Like, Sunday day, which might have been like, so
I think that ended at 6.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So there's, no reason to do that. And especially now, because you could go up to them and then they would like be like, oh, you want to buy this? Like, and then they would send it to your email, and then your email.
They would punch in your badge, which would be connected to your account. You would go into your account, which would have an email to be just like boop. So you didn't even need your generic tickets for the library.
Okay.
They would just be like, I'm going to charge you now. Click. And
be like, confirm to being charged.
Yes. As you struggle for fucking signal in the middle. Even though the convention center had 5G plus, which I had not seen on my phone before, which was like the crazy 5G cancer 5G, you know?
Sure.
The full-on millimeter wave super 5G.
Yeah, which I've noticed, I've seen a little bit of here, but it's like 5G, like it looks like it says like VC or something like that on mine. But you have AT&T, so that's why you're seeing the 5G plus.
Yeah. So I had Ultra 5G, which was very nice, except when I tried to get those fucking emails for the tickets. And we were like, all right, let's just wait out here for 15 minutes while we wait for these fucking emails.
That's what they had to do. I was just like, oh, I immediately got it. Boop.
Great. Fantastic.
Yep.
So yeah, we spent a lot of time in the library. Boy, did we spend a lot of time in the library. We played a lot of the games in the library.
We did. What we didn't play was Twilight Imperium 4th edition that this guy kept trying to push on Wes and I.
I was 3-player Twilight Imperium 4th edition, no expansion, 3-player. We're in and out 3.5 hours. In shrink, we can play this. I had it in my hand at the library the whole time. I was like, you fuckers get a game that you want to play instead, and we won't do this one, as I'm just watching you go up and down for 15 fucking minutes trying to find a board game, and you don't want to play Twilight Imperium 4th edition, which I had in my hands. That thing didn't even come out of shrink the whole weekend. It never got played. I saw it in the same spot.
I saw some people taking out Twilight Imperium 3rd edition and like sorting things and stuff like that, but it was just like 2 people, and I'm like, they have no idea what they're getting into, and then they never played it.
I threatened violence and I abdicated the violence. Next time, pure violence. 3-player Twilight Imperium.
I think Wes said he would be down, but Zach was the one who was hard vetoing it.
He wasn't hard vetoing. He was faffing.
I was faffing about.
He was struggling to find a reason not to play it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
And I think it was, honestly, if at a normal Gen Con when we just had time for it.
Yeah.
Like there wasn't a deadline.
We have endless time, no deadline.
Yeah. Then I definitely would be like, yeah, sure, why not? But
3-player, you know what? It probably would have been shorter than Too Many Bones.
That's true. That's very true. Well, you can blame Wes for that one.
What was our first game in the library? Was it Furnace? Did we play Furnace first thing?
We're just going to have to go with what highlights we had on there because I am not going to be able to give you a play-by-play.
Great. I'm glad I've remembered most of everything.
Yeah.
So we played Furnace. It was a new game from some people. It's engine building to engine building game.
Yeah.
So much so that like you build your card engine and you redo the whole thing in whatever order you want every round. And it's basically like produce this. Well, like produce this by spending this, or just get this and then use those resources. And so you're just constantly like
cube converting is what's happening.
Yeah, it's cube conversion in a card row.
Yep.
And also an auction mechanic with these little tiles, but whoever had the lowest number.
So
whoever had the highest.
The
number.
numbers were 1, 2, 3, and 4 on it. And then
4 would win.
4 would win. You would on your turn you would put one of those tokens on a card that you did not have one of your tokens already on, or there wasn't a number or there wasn't a token of the same number on there. Yeah. So if I put a 3 on there, Jeff could not put a 3 on there.
But I could put a 4, which means I would win it.
Yes. But at the end of the rounds, whoever when you would use a card or when you would claim a card, everybody who had lower tokens got to get an ability from it, or like resources or something like that.
It's usually resources.
Multiplied by the number of your token that you put there. So if you put a 3, you're going to get to do that 3 times.
So if it was 2 coal, you would get 6 coal.
Yeah. Okay.
Because you would get that times 3.
Yeah.
Or that times 1, or that times 2, or whatever.
Sure.
But it was also individual player powers where everyone got kind of their own baron of some sort.
So Jeff had another 2 token.
I had 2 2s.
Wes, his ability was he got to run cards at 1 higher than his number.
Okay.
So a 3 would get it 4 times, 1 would get it 2 times. And my ability was I could spend coal to activate a card a second time, which
was not ideal for our
in the
shuffle.
For our shuffle. Was not ideal in the beginning because I didn't even use it the first 2 or 3 rounds because I was like, I never had enough coal to do anything.
All the coal came out the last round and we're like, well, what use is this?
Yes. And so I was just like, man, this power sucks compared to theirs. But I'll tell you, end of the game, I got some use out of that power and I ended up cleaning up with it. Like, I had a really good balance of stuff that I was able to, because the cards, you can upgrade them. And when you upgrade them, they give you extra resources. And so we had a lot of upgraded stuff near the end that I was like able to do all of this stuff, and being able to use the same card twice with all of this extra coal that we were getting was key to getting a bunch of victory points. And like near the end, I remember I finished and I was like, okay, I have 1 coal left. And I got like 20 or 30 materials throughout that last run, but I kept turning them into stuff. And then like, Jeff, didn't you have like 20 coal left over?
Yeah, I had like an insane amount of resources left over because I didn't have anything to be able to actually burn whatever those resources were. But yeah, it's that kind of game where you're like turn to turn changing your engine to burn or create this amount of resources in whatever order. All of the cards can be upgraded. Yeah. And yeah, it was decent. It was a very they made an engine building game. That's like, and boy did they do it.
I think after like the first play, you're like, okay, I get the game.
Yeah.
But it was still enjoyable enough that like I didn't feel like we wasted our time or anything like that.
No, it was and it's not very expensive. It's like a $30 game.
Something about that, yeah.
Yeah, it's just some cards and tokens. It's not a lot there. You can get a play mat for like $10. Yeah. So Furnace was one of the first games we played.
Nice.
Something else we played was I don't remember which day we played this, but we found Dinosaur World, which was coming out at the convention,
which they Pandasaurus was selling a lot of. They were selling that and their
3 or 4 expansions.
4 expansions, but they didn't get as many of.
Well, they had a warehouse break-in or something that happened right before Gencon, where a bunch of people stole all the shit they had brought to the fucking convention.
Yeah,
I didn't hear about that.
Yeah. where they just had a bunch of people like selling copies of the fucking game online, like Kickstarter editions and stuff,
which they were able to get back, which is good because someone like sold it to a company, and then that company was selling it. They
didn't realize that it was like, oh, we just bought a bunch of stolen fucking merchandise, like hundreds of copies of this board game.
Yeah.
So that happened like right before the convention.
And a common theme that we saw with all of the shipping problems that we've been seeing is that it was prohibitively expensive to try and ship anything else than what you were already planning on doing to the convention.
Yes.
Or even sometimes you wanted to do that, but the Owl Creek Games people like to get some copies of Dark Merchants of
the Dark Road.
It was like $90 or $100 shipping.
$80 per copy of their $90 board game would go to shipping alone.
Which is crazy because like I know like a lot of the shipping issues are like sea shipping. So it's crazy how much like it's still having issues.
Yeah. I think that was getting it like airlifted from to be able to get it to the convention. So it was probably prohibitively expensive.
Sure.
They were able to get like two copies. They had their demo copy they were doing in the events hall, and then they had the copy that they had at the booth. And I think that was it.
Yeah.
But that game looks very good.
It does.
I'm glad I pre-ordered.
Yeah. But Dinosaur World.
Zach came up with this and was like, Dinosaur World? And I was like, Dinosaur World.
Yeah. Because we had played Dinosaur Island.
Yes. Which you own.
Which I own.
All of.
Which is obviously why I 100% knew what the name was.
And we have Dinogenics.
Yes. But that one, it was like we were, positive to vaguely positive on that one.
Dinosaur Island.
Yes.
Yeah. And we're like, oh, Dinosaur World. This was a very large Kickstarter from Pandasaurus.
And from what I remember, they were trying to make it a little bit more like strategic and a little heavier and stuff like that.
Yes.
So we got it out.
Did they succeed?
No. So we took a solid like 60-minute teach, maybe.
Oof.
You know what? Let's say it felt like forever teach.
It did. But I would say 60 minutes for the teach, and then also like getting everything out of the bags because it has.
Whoever played it previous to us did not organize it well either.
Yeah, unless you consider throwing everything in like one bag.
One bag.
Great organization.
Is that not how you organize?
No.
No. We did organize it much better.
Yeah.
So you each have like your DNA tracks, which is like the 6 different DNA that you would expect from Dinosaur Island. But now you don't have like individual workers. You have cards you're drafting of like not 10, 9, 10
what's
different.
What's that? Is it Keyflower that you can get like you're getting like patches of workers that have like different color combinations that you're trying. Yeah. So it's something reminiscent of that.
Okay. And then each of those colors will do their specific action more efficiently. You'll get more general workers, but like the green guy can do the green action to get more money with one dude, where it would take 2 dudes of the general one to do it otherwise.
Also vaguely similar to like Manhattan Project and that, like where you have like engineer, scientist, and like generic worker meeple.
And it's like security, your John Hammond dude with a cane. What was the purple?
I don't remember.
Yellow was security. There was also a purple. I don't remember what the fuck purple was.
Clearly got to be renegade mathematician.
No, none of those, unfortunately. None
of the meeples were a guy laying on his side with obviously a shirt.
Just the most sexy.
Yeah.
Mr. Sexy No here.
Yeah.
But you had a car, and the car would go through these hexes that you would buy through the rounds, and then depending on how the car went, you would get an excitement level that would get you money and victory points.
But every time you went to a spot,
you would get boring.
It would add a boredom amount to it because
and there was just 1,000 of these little boredom chits, one through whatever number it was.
Imagine like Pandemic Legacy, all the stickers.
Those little stickers.
Imagine they were chits.
A third of the size of that. And then you would have to be changing out those on each one of the tiles that you drove through every single round.
So it made sense in context of like going, because what Veeple is what they called it, I think.
Veeple, yes,
So-
it was a Veeple.
Yeah.
Vehicle meeple.
Biggest fucking eye.
Yeah.
I'm so sick. I'm getting so tired of everything needing to be some kind of eeple.
Yeah. But it's driving around taking people on tours of your island.
Yeah.
So
Sure.
if you bring them, like if you're bringing people to the same spot, each time it's going to get more boring. Because, the 5th time you see a T-Rex, you're going to be like, who cares about that
boy.
guy?
Fucking T-Rex
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
But the T-Rex would start at a higher number, so it would go down.
But it could go into negative.
Yes.
And so like you had to
But like the
balance it.
security center, which starts at 0, but if you go, because it's just like, hey, look at our sweet security center, which is also the most expensive fucking tile in the game. But if you put a yellow dude there that's security, you would get 2 free security bumps with no payment.
So
but,
you're
but now it starts at 0 and then goes up from there.
Yeah. So the meeples, not only are you using them during the like placement phase, but you're also wanting to keep some for your driving phase, your tour phase, because to activate a tile, you need to have a meeple ready for it, and some of them required certain colors. So there was like planning on trying to do that.
We got about 3 rounds in, and Zach
2
was
rounds.
like,
End of the second
2
round.
rounds of like, do we want to not play this anymore?
Yeah. Well, I could easily tell that Jeff and Wes were just not into it, and I was also like, I think I got the game, like, because it didn't feel like it felt like it was
It's
just
like
going to be
you have
more
your
of that.
dinosaur pens, and then it's the same dinosaur in there. You can do it multiple times, and it gets more threatening when you do it.
And halfway through the game, you can move where your starting space is, so you aren't having to go through the same spots.
Yeah, you have your park entrance on the left, and then you can kind of break it out into the middle, and so you have like a bigger area you can like travel people around and expand from.
But for me, they added more, but it just didn't mean anything. I just wasn't interested about what was going on.
Yeah.
So we were just like,
Let's
play a better.
Let's play a better game.
Let's play a better dinosaur game.
Jurassic Park from the year 1995. Hell yeah.
So in this one, you are one of the characters from the movie.
Yes, you are.
and
in
you-
any way, shape, or form you so wish.
Yeah. And you're going from one side of the island to the other side of the island.
like the south side of the island to like the northwest side
Yep.
of the island, where the visitor center is. So it's a card-based movement game. It's not a die rolling movement game. So everyone should love it because that is what everyone wants. They want card-based, not die-based.
No, there's no randomness here.
There's no randomness in any way, shape, or form. But it would let you move 1 or 2.
So you had spaces that you can move 1 or 2. And there are certain cards that let you move more on the road.
Yeah.
Because there are various roads, but then there's also dinosaurs all around the board.
And every time you would play, you would roll the die, which was a 30% chance, 33.3 infinity chance to get. No, it wasn't. Was there 2 T-Rex?
Nope. Oh, yes, it was. Yeah, no, it's still 33.
It was 2, 2, and 2. Of Velociraptor, Dilophosaurus, or T-Rex, but the T-Rex was the 5 and 6, so it could move 5 or 6 spaces. The Velociraptor was the 3 and 4, or the and then the Dilophosaurus was 1 or 2. And that would be how many spaces they can move. And you can move them into your own space because you could use strategy to move them into your own space.
Strategy.
Because it would block someone else from moving.
Because on their turn, if there's a dinosaur in their space, they have to play a card that lets them escape, or that's it.
Yeah.
Then your turn's done.
Yeah. But if you had the escape, you could move it onto yours and be like, on my turn, I'm going to escape.
Yeah.
But boy, is there a lot of cancel cards in that game.
So many cancel cards. But don't worry, luckily the cancel cards can cancel cards.
Yes.
Oh
and then cancel cards can cancel the cancel card.
Yeah.
And then the cancel card can cancel the cancel.
I'm not going to say that on the second or third turn, 5 cancel cards weren't played on one thing that didn't matter at all.
No, because we're like, fuck you. No, fuck you. Fuck you. No, fuck you. Fuck you.
Yep.
Fuck you.
And there were like some spaces you could go where dinosaurs couldn't go into your spot.
It was like a bunker.
But they were so out of the way. It's like, well, I'm just going to go where I need to anyway.
Yeah, and then like if you went to the bunker, you could like trade out all your cards and redraw without having to worry about like skipping a turn. But if you missed your turn because you couldn't do anything, you can mulligan out as much of your hand as you want. Just do it. It doesn't matter.
It makes noise.
No one cares. No one cares about this episode.
I'm sure a lot of people are going to care about this episode.
Well, about editing your can cracking.
Well, which is why I didn't want the can crack, because I knew it wouldn't get edited. It'd just be in the middle of
Now
Jeff's
we're talking about it.
speech.
Just do it. Just do it. There you go. We did it.
Oh, you spilt it.
Yep.
You want to put a timestamp at all?
No, fuck it.
God damn it. I am sorry, listeners.
If we're not caring now, we're not caring then.
He's not wrong.
Yeah.
The math checks out.
I care always. Also, we're at 45 minutes. If I take an equal amount of time for Geekway, we're going to be an hour and a half.
No, you're not.
No.
Two people talking versus one person.
Yeah,
Oh my God.
Yeah, we'll just be silent the whole time you're talking.
Staring at you, not blinking. Robot mode.
We brought the eye drops. Yeah, so we just kind of went back and forth, just take this, take that sort of game. It was interesting. The models in the game were probably better than a lot of minis that have been in games fairly recently.
Which was surprising.
The dinosaurs in Jurassic Park from 1995 actually looked better than the dinosaurs in Dinosaur World.
Yep. But the main reason I want to talk about is just that unlike Dinosaur World, like it actually ended in a very tense showdown.
Yeah.
All three of us were one spot.
So was Muldoon was Wes, I was Timmy, and you were Ian Malcolm.
Yes, I was.
Yeah. So we were actually about one round away. It was the die that I think gave it to you. You were able to
the guy Wes got it.
Wes was Wes the one?
Yeah, Wes won.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because he was able to get the dinosaur off his space and then move in.
Yeah, and we didn't have to cancel because you could always just move once and nobody could stop you from doing that.
Yeah.
So it's not like playing a card but if you played a card to move better, then people could stop you from doing that. But so once again, this is strategy that we're talking about.
Yes,
this
absolute
strategic moves that were happening.
Yes.
So.
But I think Jurassic Park takes the cake for shitty old game that was fun to play at the convention, like Mold Madness has been previous years.
Yes.
We played Tyrants of the Underdark, the new edition that was actually just came out at Gencon. The second edition, Tyrants of the Underdark. It's basically dark elves fighting over territory in the Underdark of the D&D, whatever. What's that? Forgotten Realms? Is that what
that sounds right?
That's the D&D that the Drizzt is from.
Yes.
Yes. It's basically the old game, but without minis and little cardboard chits, and then you just kind of murder everyone's soldiers, and it's also a deck builder.
Yeah.
I thought it was perfectly adequate.
Same here.
As an area control kind of competitive play this in a bunch of different weird ways.
Yep.
It also had multiple themed decks. We used the base set, and I think there was 3 other different madness decks, and
I think there were
lithids and things that you could put in there to put a little more complexity if you wanted.
Yeah, there's 5 ones, and you choose 2 of them. Although I wouldn't be surprised if some people are like, I'm just going to mix it all together and just and you're like, all right, good luck with that.
And it would be hard to get a strategy. I went a hard spy strategy, where I could put spies down, and then when you pulled the spy off, you would get a ton of resources or a ton of attack to pull their dudes off into the sky.
Just pull them right off.
And pull them right off into your victory point area.
Pulling guys off into your area.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, they asked me to do it.
Yeah.
Well, as long as it's
once
consensual.
again, it's strategy.
Yeah. Yeah, I liked the Tyrants of the Underdark. It gave me a lot of Expanse vibes, where you kind of have your cubes in different areas, and you're playing cards. Less Twilight Struggle with your card play, more deck builder.
And you couldn't get mad at someone for doing shit to you because you were doing the exact same shit to them right back a million
absolutely.
times.
Yeah,
yeah. So it had a cool expansion. You're expanding stuff, but then you're putting little spies in here to try to exert influence in other spots.
But then you can build off of that spy's influence, and you don't have to come from exactly where you're starting. So putting a spy out somewhere and then blowing a bunch of power to blow out of that area, so you can kind of go into little spurts.
Basically, if somebody builds a wall of enemy, like a wall to stop you from getting in. You can still get in easily with a spy and then hit their big, because they're some of the big settlements, whatever those spots were called.
Your area control
controls. We're getting you victory points and extra points for buying cards and things like that every turn.
Money, and victory points.
Yes. So, which I think some people, and it's like you get one thing if you have like some control, and then if you have total control, you would get
money if you had partial, and then you would get victory points and money if you had total control.
Yeah. So, but it was fun.
Yeah, just trying to exert your influence kind of as much in the board.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like it had cool D&D theme. It had a bunch of different dragons and stuff, and the bigger dragons had more power.
I feel like deck builder, I think it was a definitely good one. That's a deck builder that's also doing other things. So,
okay.
I liked it. I will be picking that one up in the future.
And then the last game I care to talk about just briefly was we played Raccoon Tycoon.
Oh, okay.
Then that one was pretty fun. It's another.
I've wanted to try it.
Yeah.
Their like lizard cult version new game had come out.
Yeah. Lizard
Wizard, yes.
But that one, instead of Raccoon Tycoon's like 60 to 90, it was like 90 to 120. So we're like, we'll give it a try later. But
we'd seen it around. But.
Yeah. No, but it was cool. Like you just have cards to play each round, and so there's a price for a bunch of these different items. Commodities that every time you play them, it like raises their price, and then eventually you can sell them, and it tanks the price. So trying to do those,
jacking up the price, and then hoping someone doesn't sell it out from under you.
Yeah.
So it's keeping track of how many resources other people have, but how many resources you can have is based on how many buildings you have, and you're buying buildings, and then you're buying towns, and you're buying railroads, which is set collection. It was interesting. Everything's like a nice tarot size card. I think it played a little long. Just a smidge long for what I got out of it.
How many people were playing with that? 3 or
3?
4? Okay.
It was 3. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It was just me, you, and Wes.
Okay.
I think it played a little long for what I liked out of it, but it was interesting, and the components are nice. The art is nice. I can see why people really like Raccoon Tycoon.
There's an expansion for it. I wonder if that may add enough to make it a little bit meatier or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, it was interesting, but I felt like I was just kind of like building up prices and selling like, let's say 30 minutes too long. But it was good.
Yeah.
Too Many Bones. We played Too Many Bones. If you've played Too Many Bones,
we played
Too Many Bones has like a not detailed enough rule book. What is instant? What is?
I seem to remember that from the one time Paul tried to learn it at D-Bolt.
I was part of that too.
Yeah, it's interesting.
And you didn't remember all the rules?
Well, I was playing a different character, which means entirely different thing.
And Zach cheated hard.
I only
the whole
cheated
time.
hard the entire time we were playing with my character
until like the last round.
Yeah,
we did not win, right?
No,
I think we lost in the last.
We did,
battle.
and we were just like, whatever, I don't care anymore.
Yeah,
because once I started being overpowered, then we started losing hardcore.
Yes.
Yeah. Because
it was interesting.
Yeah, the skill dice, like once you use them, they're supposed to just be gone,
exhausted for the entire battle.
But so many of my things mentioned like dice that weren't gone, that they kept coming back, that I just assumed everything did.
Yeah,
and that's not true.
But like it's a die
Amazing.
you use instantly exhausted, because it never says. It's like you may use this instantly. It does not say you exhaust it instantly. And it's like, well, does that mean it goes back? Does it not? Because that's how he gets his throwing axes. Is the throwing axe thing you use once and then it's never there again? Like, and we couldn't find an answer for it.
Okay.
Also, a game that it was like 45 minutes for the rule teach.
It was very very long. So we spent a significant amount of time on that. But once I got it and my character, it was interesting.
Once I got it and was playing wrong, my character was very fun.
What about when you started playing right at the very end?
I died really quickly.
But then the game was over, and so it didn't matter.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
We did the Search for Planet X, which I ended up purchasing from Renegade Games. That's kind of like a celestial... like
cryptid is it's like similar to cryptid.
Like you have info that's like a comet is across from an asteroid, but now you know that all asteroids there are sets of 2, but no more than 2 will be next to each other. And so but it's all app driven. So as you like ask these questions, you're announcing that you're researching blank, and then you get information. Other people will know what you did, but not exactly what information you got, because you're reading it off the app, and it's all connected via your 3 different phones. And
so you all 3 have to have a different app?
correct.
Oh, that I don't like
you
that.
You can have one phone,
you
but
can, and then you just pass and play. But you can play with multiple devices to make it a little easier.
Okay.
And it's really just the base information of that game because that's what randomizes and what changes your solar system.
Sure.
It was neat. It was I liked it more than Cryptid's advanced version. That's for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't like either of them. So
yeah, fair enough.
No, you didn't like
no,
Cryptid?
I didn't like Cryptid. After we were done playing with it, I was just like, I'm glad to never play this again.
But what about Planet X?
I also am fine not playing it again.
Okay, good. Never playing with you.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. Well, so when we do a stream of it,
That would be not easy.
we'll just have Zach not play, and he'll run the stream so that he's the only one who can see the screen.
And then what will happen is that I will then just alt tab and just start doing something else, and then maybe the stream will go down and I'll be like, oh shit, I was looking on this Reddit thread. Crap.
Another bad game we played was the Thunderbirds game from Matt Leacock, which was kind of like a sort of cooperative.
I vaguely remember hearing something about that.
And it was like, all right, we have this timer that's ticking down and you have to fight these threats, but you have to have the right ship with the right people to be in that space, and like the way that you're moving people around, it felt like
it felt far too hard. It felt like we were doing something wrong because it felt like so much harder than we were expecting.
Like you need to be super finicky because you need like the green ship with the green player, but also the white player. So you got to get the white guy down from space into this area, get the green ship there, but you only have like 3 actions and the green ship moves 1. So maybe you got them there, but then the other player who's not green can't control your guy. So now it's just sitting there and all these like, it was like, and it seemed like you needed to have like an intricate knowledge of the Thunderbolts to understand what you needed to do, because it was naming them by name and you needed to know that like Jason was the white one and that like Rick was like the green one. And like, you had to just go into the rulebook and be like, or look at the mini, because for like the ships, they like move Thunderbolt 5. It's like, what the fuck is Thunderbolt 5?
Yeah.
And you have to go look at the mini and be like, oh, it's got a 5 on it. That's why I know orange is Thunderbolt 5.
Yeah.
Just say the fucking orange one, all right? Because I know orange and I don't need to know Thunderbolt 5. Does that make sense, everyone? That was a Kickstarter, I think.
I don't remember. Once we're done, I was like, I'm glad we not playing this anymore.
And we were fighting against the like trying to make it as not as racist as possible as it was in the 60s. Mr. Fang or something like that. It was like, I'm sure this was very problematic nowadays. It's villain of the Thunderbolts. It looked good. But it was very finicky, and you had even had all these little like, oh, remember the little mole machine from the TV show? No, well, you need to get there because that's what the TV show did, and you have to get things over there because that's what the event is.
It just did not feel like we had near enough time to do what we wanted. So.
Yeah. The Thunderbolts Go or whatever. Matt Leacock must love that show, and I hope people that play it that know the show also love it. But it was not.
Didn't work for you.
Did not work. No bueno.
Cool.
Yeah, I think, is that it for games?
Oh, that's it for full games. We did some demos. We saw a demo of Merchants of the Dark Road. I have that pre-ordered. It's a rondelle with fantastic components where you're like traveling, like the world is half in dark, half in light for the year. And once the Dark Road happens, you have to have like merchants kind of like hire heroes to go and like ship supplies to the cities that are separated. That one looks really cool. I'm really looking forward to that one. It's probably one of my favorite, like most hype games of the show.
The pieces on it looked real good too.
Yeah, the components were great. We did demo the loop out of Pandasaurus. That's kind of like a time travel game where it's all these different versions of this evil guy that is through like, was it 6 or 8 different time periods, and you're using all of your action cards to try and like paradox him out of existence.
Yep.
Okay.
Had this nice little cube tower in the middle that would be like where he would be attacking or putting like these red cubes, and you have to get the red cubes out before like bad things happened. It was ridiculous and pretty interesting. I think it was a little too expensive for kind of my level of enjoyment out of it. I think it was like a $60 game.
Sure.
I could probably cut $20 off that and maybe enjoy it a little more. We saw Cosmic Frog, whom's art is phenomenal.
Yeah. I missed out on playing it at Geekway, but it's
a lot of tiles.
I don't think I'm going to like it.
It's competitive.
And it's chaotic.
It's competitive. It's chaotic. You have individual player powers and be like, I'm shooting you off into space. Fuck you. But I'm also a frog and I can like jump across things and I'm eating like whole terrain tiles and trying to like put things down my gullet to your many mile high frogs eating the universe, I guess is kind of what it is. So
it seemed interesting, but also I couldn't get a great sense of it from their explanation. It seemed like one of those games that like you need to really play to get the gist of. And so that's the main thing that stopped me or Wes from buying it from there. Cause I only had a couple copies left, but we were just like,
but it's also $75.
Yeah, it was $75. And I was just like, I don't know.
Yeah. It's a lot to spend for I don't know.
Sure.
But it looks great.
Yeah.
Saturday I finally saw my friends from Sun King and they remembered me, which was nice. We watched some sumo with Ofer in the hotel room, live streaming, just kind of watching the sumo.
Yeah.
Sunday, we said, fuck all that and skipped all of Sunday because the Colts game was happening.
Yeah.
And
traffic was a nightmare.
No, parking was a nightmare. Parking was a nightmare. We're like, fuck all this.
Did you try to go and then realize parking was
we
a
drove
nightmare?
by.
Yeah, we drove by and then we're like, you know what? Let's just go back.
Let's just go.
We did.
Parking was already like 50% more expensive than it was other years. It was like $30 a day parking.
Which unfortunately made us at least one time go, you know, it might be cheaper to do Lyft there and back.
It was not.
It was not.
Going there, it was like $10. Coming back, it was $35.
Yeah, it was.
Whoops.
Yeah.
Well, let me rephrase that. Once we left, because we had like a late dinner at Gilroy's,
because we left the convention center midnight every night because that's when the library closed.
But we didn't eat that. We didn't eat dinner because we were just
between
playing
4 and 6 o'clock because we were just playing board games the whole time.
Yeah, and so we went to Gilroy's and then we left there at like 12:45 and like we opened up the app and it was like $28.
$37.
Yeah, and then we're like every time we looked at it, it just got worse and worse.
Yeah.
And we're like, God damn it.
Yeah.
So, but on Sunday,
we did fuck all that on Sunday.
We did it, yeah. So we had just two little non-board game stuff. One, for one of the times for lunch we went to a German beer hall.
Yeah.
Spiciest mustard I've ever had.
Like mind-blowingly spicy mustard, like horseradish spicy, like blow up your fucking nose level horseradish. But, I dipped in there.
Well,
he
didn't tell us. He just brought us. Here's.
They just brought us pretzel. We didn't order pretzel.
Soft pretzel.
They just brought like a table bread.
Yes.
Here's a soft pretzel and mustard.
Yeah, and we're like, ooh, this looks great. So he takes a big dip. And then he eats it, and then Wes and I dip it, and right as we're about to eat it, it hits him because there's a delay of about 5 seconds.
There's a delay. Yeah, like all horseradishy type things. Yeah. And I was like, oh my God. I like couldn't speak like level of how crazy this mustard was.
And then so like Wes, both and I looked at each other, and then we're like, okay. And then we took a bite. And yeah, it really fucked you up.
It fucked you up hard.
But in a great way. It's probably one of the best mustards I've ever had.
Yeah, totally. Then we got like a sausage.
Oh, God.
Sausage and kraut plate.
Yeah.
We cleared everything off that plate.
I mean, the funny thing about the mustard is that you never got used to it.
No, never. It wasn't like, I'm used to the spiciness. No, you would just be annihilated every time you ate it. Yeah, that place was very good.
Yes. And then Cheval.
So we fucked off Sunday and went straight to lunch in Chicago. We got there about 1-ish, and I was like, well, you were like, well, let's just do Portillo's. Let's just do the Italian beef place. Yeah. And I was like, well, why don't we do like Au Cheval? I've always been recommended. Paul has always said Au Cheval. I had some coworkers that were like, well, Kuma's or Au Cheval? And I was like, well, I haven't had Au Cheval. So we went to Au Cheval, and it was like, you're going to have about a 90-minute wait This is about 1:00 on a Sunday afternoon. I was like, well, that sounds about right for Chicago.
Yeah.
So we went off to this bar next door that had dirty tap lines and had gross beers. And then we went to the Caddy Corner Haymarket Brewing, which was actually quite delicious.
Yep.
And I was playing the Bears game. And then our buzzer beeped, and this is like in the shadow of the fucking Sears Tower. It's like close to downtown. We went in and we had outdoor seating, and I looked at the menu and I was like, I like these prices. Let's do. Paul had recommended the sesame hot fried chicken, which was absolutely fantastic.
Yep.
I saw bone marrow on the menu. Had you or Wes had not had bone
Wes
marrow?
had not had it before.
You have had bone marrow?
Yes, yeah.
One of the best fucking bone marrows I've ever had in my entire life.
Yeah.
Along with the sesame hot fried chicken.
Mm-hmm.
Then we each got burger.
We got the single burger, which has 2 patties,
Yes.
as opposed to the double.
Double,
that
which
has
is 3. And
you guys got yours with the egg. I did not.
And we all got bacon. Sorry, not bacon, pork belly. And continued to be probably the best meal I've had in my entire fucking life.
It was so fucking good.
It was also Negroni week.
That Negroni was so good.
Yeah. Our bartender knew like the Colorado area because he would do beer trades with like Weldworks and Greeley. And so I was like, oh, I work at Avery. Oh, you guys have White Rascal. And he brought us like pickleback shots of whiskey.
For free?
Yeah, for free.
And then we drank that, and I was just like, I wanted them to just bring, like, instead of a water jug, just a brine jug, and just drink
like
that
pickle juice.
brine. It was amazing.
Yes.
But like the burger was a burger that like I bit it, and then I just wanted to like sort of just like have it just exist in my mouth.
Yes.
So it was just like for like 10 to 15 seconds of just like enjoying the flavor of it.
Yeah, it was so fucking good. I think our tip was $75.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it was so good though.
Yeah.
And that was like a 35% tip.
Yeah.
So it
Jesus
was
Well,
fair.
partially because he basically gave us the $30 in pickleback for free.
Yeah, whatever those whiskey shots
Yeah.
were, I'm sure were very expensive. So
Yeah.
I was like, let's give him a lot of money. Yeah, that was amazing. I highly recommend all Cheval in Chicago.
Yep.
Then we went to
Logan
Arcade because we still had some time to kill before the flight, which was my probably one of the best barcades in America and has been voted such. We played a lot of ice cold beer, which is actually an arcade machine where you kind of have this like little
bar.
Let's say car antenna between 2 little levers that you're trying to get through one of those labyrinth-esque like hole in the bottom of the.
But only specific holes.
Yes,
So,
only specific holes. But let's call it vertical.
it's pretty cool.
Yeah, we played it. We
I have
really just
no idea what you're talking
we
about.
really just played a lot of that. Ice Cold Beer, the arcade game. Look it up. Then I dropped you off at the international terminal of O'Hare Airport and was like, good luck.
Yep.
And
then we flew back.
Yeah, and then I flew back with a massive delay the next day, which was a bummer. Yeah,
That was Gencon.
That was Gen Con.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But before we go to Banter, do you guys have any games that you played in the last 3 weeks post Gen Con that you really want to talk about?
I only have one, and that was I played Deckscape with Mike Jones. Jeff was there too. He played it. So
Yes,
he can talk about it.
Deckscape.
Yeah. So we've played a lot of exit games. Love those. I've played a couple of the unlock games.
Sure.
Don't like those.
Was it
Sure.
was Undo another one?
Undo is another one. I haven't
Okay.
played those.
Okay.
But so this Deckscape is another card-based
Reusable, no
Reusable.
scissors involved.
but escape room. And so I was just like, Mike, he actually like messaged me and he was like, hey, I'm bringing this. Do you want to play it? And I was like, yeah, I guess I'll go ahead. Like if he had asked me just there straight up, I might have said no.
Yeah.
But I'm glad I didn't.
Yeah, me too.
We played it. This one was based around like a magician. And like the exit games, it's not just like, oh, compare these 2 cards and then put like the numbers in or something. It's having you do.
It's like, go to card 97. Did you get it right? No. Click. All right, go back. Maybe get the other thing correct.
It had a lot of puzzles in there, and it had a lot of unique, not regular card things that were happening that you were using to.
Very, very unique.
Yeah. Don't really want to say much.
No.
Sure.
But there was like 4 different directions you could go in, and you would go through each one of those decks and then maybe unlock an item you could use in one of the other decks to like move into.
But it did have a thing of like, hey, it'd ask you a lot of questions.
Yeah.
And it'd be like, hey, how did this trick get, like, it'll explain a trick because this one, once again, is magician related. And it would be like, how did this trick happen?
Illusion.
Like, illusion.
Zach.
Yeah. Sorry. Tricks are for horse. Sorry. But
Michael.
Yeah.
And we'd be like, how did this happen?
Yes,
and you would be like, we think this happened. And then we would go to it and be like, well, if you didn't get it like this, put an X on your scorecard. And so we would build up X's, but we would also do other things that would kind of like erase X's.
Yeah.
Because we had super gotten something right.
But unfortunately, we got things wrong because it's like it would be looking for specific items to do something.
Yeah.
And then it's like, if you don't have this item, add an extra X, as in you went here when you weren't supposed to. And then don't come back here until you have it.
You done fucked up.
Yeah. Which happened to us twice. So we got a real bad score in this game.
We got the worst score.
Well, not the worst, but like, was
there another worse?
We got worse in the sense that it was like 91 plus minutes, because the X's added like 5 minutes to your time, and it was like, if you got that, then it was the worst. But we had at least 2 to 3 of those X's were due to us being like, oh, I think we did it. You do it like this, and then it flips it over, and it's like, you're supposed to use an item to actually do the thing, and we're like,
we don't have this specific item card because we would be getting item cards as we played.
Yeah.
But yeah, we would match cards certain ways, use cards other ways. Everything was reusable. Mm-hmm. It was some things were kind of like fucking weird, like very large leaps of logic of like, especially at the end.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, what do we use in this closet?
And then it was common sense of how to actually do, the most like common sense in terms of what was available. Yeah. But But it was cool. I would definitely play.
Deckscape was very good. I would play more Deckscape.
I would definitely want to play a second one and see if, like the Exit games, it had new ways of doing things.
Sure.
Yeah. So. It used all the pieces of the buffalo.
Yep.
Like your Exit games would.
Cool.
Which was interesting, but in a reusable way.
Right on.
Yeah, it was good.
Exit's still better, but
I think Deckscape is like a close second.
Yeah,
for sure, and the best reusable.
Yes, definitely
of them.
Okay.
Yeah, Deckscape was fun.
Right on.
All right, that's it for games.
All right.
In general, so we're gonna have banter.
No. And then so we're gonna do banter, but we're gonna have to do banter fast because there is. Like, Geekway is going to take an amount of time. I will try to be short and condense things and not go day by day, hour by hour, discuss whether it was a Lyft or an Uber. But there is still an amount of time.
There wasn't much discussion. It was more corrections.
Yeah.
Anyhow, banter-wise, because I haven't talked in forever, I'm going to talk for a second.
Part of my banter is going to be going to the bathroom while you talk about banter.
Sure. Then I guess I'll save the video game until you get back.
Have I played the same video? I played the same video?
I don't know. Have you played Horizon Zero Dawn? So I guess,
yeah. Oh, so you finally got a PS5 and you were playing.
No, I finally bought it on Steam.
Sorry, I just wanted to have that little.
I know. Those are still very hard to find.
Yeah, nope.
As are graphics cards. So I finally got Horizon Zero Dawn. It went on sale, and so I picked it up. I'm like 6 hours in. Nice. I really like it so far. It's really great.
Are you playing on a controller?
Yes.
Good.
Yeah.
No.
I saw enough things that were like, this was never meant to be played with a mouse and keyboard.
Oh, God, no.
And so luckily, when I got my Xbox, because I do have the new Xbox.
You do.
The bundle I got came with the new Elite controller, and it also had like a nicer version of the regular controllers. It had 2 controllers. They're both USB-C, and the very long cable that came with the charger, if I plug it into the USB on my PC and then plug it into the Xbox controller, just that works fucking beautifully.
There you go.
And it's a nice long cable, so I can play from my couch. So I moved the HDMI from the PC to my TV.
Okay.
And I took the controller and I flopped on the couch. No, I'm not playing on the PC monitor while I'm sitting on the couch. I'm not an animal.
Okay, good.
No, I hooked the PC up to the TV.
Yeah, what is this fucking 1995 with the 12-inch CRTs?
So in some ways it's actually better that I have this and not the PS5 because granted I haven't played with the PS5's controller.
Yeah.
But Xbox controllers have always been one of my like things that puts Xbox on another level. I love their controller. So getting to play with an actual Xbox controller.
The PlayStation controllers have gotten better each time.
That's what I've heard. And I haven't played with 4 or 5. So
don't just play on the 5. You know, the 4 one. If the 5 is available, you just play on the 5.
I mean, I have no interest in trying to track down unless somebody just gives me a 4 because they got a 5 and they don't need their 4 anymore. Really, really like Horizon Zero Dawn. Yeah. That's been really it for me for video games, especially because most of the last month I was in Costa Rica. So my company sent me down there.
A country in Central America?
Yes.
Correct. Yes.
I heard there's an island just off the coast of it.
Jurassic Park fame.
Yes. Yeah.
The Isles of Death.
Cinco Muertes or something like that.
Did you go visit? What?
I did not go visit.
Oh, that's a bummer.
Mostly because those are not real islands.
Says you. All right.
The Isles of Death.
Isla de la Muertes.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah, the islands they don't exist. Either that or
you
somebody
go
has
by
done
every beach and not see and make sure the compies weren't there?
I went by one beach and there were no compies on that beach. I didn't see any reptiles on that beach. However, when I got back to the van,
about bird pre-evolution?
What about birds? Yeah.
There are a lot of birds.
Oh, see, that's just old dinosaurs.
We saw a lot of dinosaurs on that beach then. Yeah, that's for sure.
When I got back to the van from seeing that beach, some of the people who were on the van with me had went in a different direction, and they claimed they had come across a shit ton of iguanas, which maybe could have just been compies. I don't know.
Or snake food, depending on which nature documentaries you watch.
That's
also,
true.
Also
failed
true.
Snake food, I think you mean.
Sometimes.
In that one instance.
Yeah. So most of the Costa Rica experience is work-related shit that isn't going to really be interesting to anybody, even if I wanted to vent about it. It's a very nice facility. Very expensive. They were still
spared no expense, some would say.
Some would say. They were still like caulking like the windows in the clean room.
Gross.
Caulk.
Macaulay
Culkin. They were still applying, and they were still like removing ceiling tiles, like, and they claimed this was an actual clean room. They made us like wear clean room garb, and then they had like some construction guys come in the rattiest, like worn up jeans, beat up shoes, covered in paint, to take ceiling tiles out and run electrical cables and air lines. We're like, this is clearly not a clean room yet. Why are we wearing these stupid smocks and beard covers?
To make it not worse, stupid. I would assume.
Something like that.
Real quick, can I make a suggestion? Don't like chug like a fourth of a sour and then immediately drink a coffee beer. It does not.
I would.
Does not go well.
The coffee beer is nice.
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure the next couple tastes of it will be fine, but that first one,
I would advise against that course of action 99 out of 100 times. This is the one time I advise for it, is because then I got that little like we got that moment. That was fun for everyone but Zach.
Second sip much better.
Great, good. We did it.
The cafeteria food was really good. Turns out Costa Ricans eat beans and rice basically every single meal.
Okay. All right.
Like the breakfast buffet at the hotel, every morning the one consistent thing was beans and rice. At lunch, one of the consistent things was beans and rice. And everywhere we went for dinner, almost everything you ordered came with a side of beans and rice.
All right. I'm in. But what if it was like a McDonald's McChicken? Is that like the American beans and rice is like the Costa Rican version of that?
What? I'm confused.
McChicken with every meal, right? That's what everyone has in America, right?
No.
Oh.
You live a different life than we do, Jeff.
You may need to go see a doctor. Like when I bleed, you should see salt come out, right?
Pretty sure my blood is supposed to taste salty. Everyone in the movie says like copper, but like mine's like salty. Is that?
Yeah, that's fine.
Food was really good. The area where we specifically stayed was in this like very Americanized compound. So like it was like this. They called it the Circle because it was vaguely circular.
Well, it was called a compound, so I can assume
I called it a compound because
maybe a green zone.
It had like 2 gates that you had to go through with security guards. And
that sounds like a green.
It was full of Costa Ricans.
Are you sure there weren't any dinosaurs there?
Inside the Circle was
there a visitor center?
Were there any sort of Jeep tours that you could go on?
Sorry, Jeeples?
Jesus Christ. Inside the Circle was the Hyatt where we stayed, which is apparently the only Hyatt in the country. There was also a Denny's, a Radio Shack, a Subway, a McDonald's,
hang on.
and a Hooters.
One of those things doesn't exist anymore.
Radio Shack still very much exists in Costa Rica.
Okay.
Is it like there's one Blockbuster left? Like this is the
so.
Radio Shack?
I don't think so.
Did you go into the Radio Shack?
We did, yes. Of course we did. We had to.
Was it more of an electronics show, or could you actually find electronics parts there?
It was more of like an electronics store at this point. Like it was almost
the Radio Shacks had enough time there to actually pivot.
Yes. Yes, they did. But it's funny because one of the first time we went there, we actually were hoping that they still had electronics parts because we were missing fuses that we couldn't find in the country.
Totally. You would go to fucking Radio Shack for fuses back in the day, right?
Yeah.
Now, what about Circuit Cities? Were any of those down there?
I didn't see a Circuit
How many speakers could you rip off the wall and run out the door before someone would catch you?
Maybe 1 or 2.
Okay.
They had a bunch of gaming chairs right by the door, though, that presented kind of an obstacle course. So you'd need to be nimble.
I'm writing it down. Nimble.
Yeah, nimble. But yeah, there was the other one that was there was a fucking Hooters like right across the street.
You know what? There was a Hooters at Gencon too, right on Georgia Street. Right
I'm used to Hooters being everywhere in America. I didn't expect to be.
Did you go to the Hooters?
I did
in
not.
Costa Rica.
I did not.
Okay.
I would just be curious if their wings were as mediocre down there.
My boss did, and he said they're actually even more mediocre because the other places we went. And where we got wings in Costa Rica, it's like the whole fucking wing. So it's like the drumstick and the flat together still attached. It's big, chunky. Like you get 10 wings in Costa Rica, almost anywhere. You're like, holy shit, this is a lot of wings.
There's like 5 birds.
Yeah.
Apparently, according to my boss at Hooters, they still did flats and drums like American style. So he was like, well, this is half as much wings as I'd get like 2 blocks down the road.
Yeah.
And they didn't sell t-shirts. He went for t-shirts because apparently his son's anywhere he travels, he buys his son a Hooters t-shirt as like kind of a long-standing father-son joke. And his son, he says, will not believe him that there was no t-shirts for sale at the San Jose Hooters.
Weird.
That's very, very weird.
Yes.
That boss no longer works the company. 3 days before the trip.
3 days.
3 days before the trip, he was like, by the way, this is also my 2-week notice. So I'm going to go to Costa Rica for 2 weeks and then I'm going to come back and then I'm just going to be done.
Just be done. Yes.
What is?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
It was on the Slack. He was asking us if we wanted to play King's Dilemma.
Oh.
So I said
Wednesday.
Yes.
Strange King's Dilemma Wednesday.
Indeed.
I'll make sure to pack the pen.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good.
Finally.
So yeah, food was great. I ate a bunch of different awesome food, both like in the Circle, which had a bunch of like cute cuisine from all around the world. A lot of South and Central America stuff. Like there was a Peruvian restaurant. There was a Mexican restaurant. But the Mexican restaurant was like actual like authentic Mexican food, which is kind of cool.
No Tex-Mex here.
No Tex-Mex. I was surprised at how hard it was to actually find spicy food, but then when you found spicy food, holy shit, it was very spicy.
Okay.
The only thing I really did fun, so I flew in on Saturday. The first Sunday I was there, we went, that was the day I went to the beach because we took like a 4-hour drive to go zip lining, and part of the way there we stopped to do like a little
critical
beach
error zip lining.
Oh, zip lining, so much fun.
Is it?
I love zip lining.
Okay.
Do you not like zip lining?
I've heard zip lining is terrible. I've never tried zip lining.
Oh, I love zip lining. Yeah.
But you know what? I've never heard about zip lining in Costa Rica, so maybe
you
it's way better
You
zip
get to
lining.
go real fast over giant forest, like rainforest valleys and stuff. Zigzag. So we took like a big tram up, and it was like 2 ridge lines coming down a valley, and we just crisscrossed the valley. And like we're hitting like 20-ish miles an hour on the zip line. I don't know.
Okay.
I was trying to use my ski app to see like my top speed, but they were too short for it to really register correctly.
I see.
One of the ones we did, it was the like fog and rain kind of rolled in because it's like cloud forest. And like, so the zip line just kind of slowly faded into mist. And so like, as people were going ahead of you, they just
There's some mist monsters on the other
mist.
side. No.
And
I've played
seen that
Dead Space.
movie.
I've played Dead Space. You don't go to where there's just
I've seen where Thomas Jane ends up.
Yeah.
All right.
yeah.
very, very sad.
Yeah.
I just started blasting.
Yeah. I just started.
Oh my God. That's the worst combination of things ever.
A new meme is born.
yeah.
No, ziplining was really fun. Other than that, I didn't get to do shit because we worked like 10-hour days, 6 days a week. And on my Sundays off, the only thing any of the Americans wanted to do was go to the like local sports bar and watch football.
Football?
American football.
Okay.
Football Americano.
I see.
I did get to go to a local luchador show.
Ooh, that seems fun.
That was a bunch of fun.
Yeah.
So somebody suggested like, hey, we should see if there's like a luchador show, and somebody else found one, and then I found they passed the information to me to where I could figure out where it was and everything. Because I want to preface this by saying I am not in any way, shape, form, sense, anything fluent in Spanish. However, I was the most fluent in Spanish of all of the Americans that went down there with my company. People were like amazed that I knew the most rudimentary of Spanish and that I could use Google Translate on my phone.
And they're like, oh my God, you speak the language.
You
¿Cómo estás? What? Did you study on your way down here?
Yeah, seriously. Like knowing how to say like, La cuenta? Like, people are like, you know how to ask for the check. You know how to get us paid so we can leave. All of the Americans bitched about how hard it was to get service because like they don't bother you down there like American servers. They're not in a hurry. They're not getting paid on tips. They don't give a shit.
Yeah.
You can sit there all night if you want. Anyhow, so I looked it up. And so we went straight from work. So we had our van driver who curried us back and forth from work take us, and like the Facebook group was like big. It was a big Facebook group, lots of like likes and fans and stuff. And so it's like, this is legit. And it was like, the event tonight is at the something wrestling arena. And we're like, all right, sweet. Like it's going to be at a big arena. This is going to be cool. We end up in a residential neighborhood.
You had expectations on what Costa Ricans figure as arenas.
Yeah. And we're in this, we're like, okay, well, this is the address. Okay. And I was like, all right, well, this one Google translated review on Google Maps says that it's above or below. I can't, the translation's poor. It's somewhere in relation to an auto shop. And I was like, that looks like an auto shop. I'll be right back. Up this narrow, dark stairwell. And like, as soon as I got to the stairwell, I could tell, like, I could hear the music blasting down the stairs. I was like, all right, guys, this is it. But yeah, up this little sketchy stair into this, like, basically like little room above an auto shop.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was like the 3-belt championship, like 3 different belt fights were that night, and it was ridiculous.
Okay.
And it was so much fun. I got
masked, all masked?
Not all masked.
Okay.
No. The best part was they had one that was a 2-on-1 fight.
Uh-huh.
I'm pretty sure from the promo stuff, it was supposed to be 2-on-2, but somebody got bailed. So the 2 guys were beating the shit out of the one guy, of course, because he's by himself.
Yeah.
And at one point, the one guy distracted the ref, classic move, while the other guy was beating the shit out of him. Yeah. Then the other guy went to go climb up on the turnbuckle to jump on him. While the ref was distracted, the other guy was up on the turnbuckle. A dude in a monkey suit came running in, kicked the guy who was getting the shit kicked out of him already, and then bailed out the other side. And it's just like, where did the monkey come from?
You just didn't have the context of the storyline from the previous automotive events.
I bet there are a lot of people who are like, I saw that coming.
Oh, the monkey's here again.
Yep.
The monkeys hate him.
Look, they keep rehashing storylines.
Look, if you go to the beer stot on the last Friday of every month,
they're still doing that?
I've done the ones at Beardstat.
You'll get some fucking storylines.
Dude, they're so good.
Yeah. Less luchadors, but
yeah.
Some luchadors.
So we got there. We get there. We find out that one, it was supposed to be reservation only.
Oh,
I never saw any links to buying tickets or anything. Luckily,
that doesn't seem the Costa Rican way.
Luckily, we had a fistful of cash.
Yeah,
and so they were like, Yes.
Money?
That'll
The
open up
seats-
doors.
The seats, they were like, because it was reservation only, they had blocked out the seats. So like if you got 2 tickets, there were like 2 seats for you,
Yeah.
kind of separated from everybody else. The seats were white lawn chairs, like the hard plastic, shitty white lawn chairs, like exactly what you're thinking of.
Oh, that sounds
Yeah.
like. I mean, I would assume that's what just a lot of like
Most
the
game
chairs.
nights are?
Probably. So they were basically like not folding, like the hard
Yeah,
shape.
no, I get it.
There's
yeah.
just a big stack of them in the corner, and they're like, chairs are there. There's space way back over there. Stay away from everyone else.
Go sit over there.
But it was a bunch of fun. So those were the 2 highlights of Costa Rica. That and all of the food. I ate a bunch of really good food, drank a bunch of good wine.
A lot of beans and rice.
You
I
finally
didn't eat much beans and rice.
Okay.
You finally got some good beer. You said it just
I
took
did-
you a while to
I
find
did
it.
finally find, so I could buy both at Walmart and at a little local grocery store I found down the street. I could buy good Costa Rican beer. There were a couple good breweries, and I went to one of the breweries, and then I found a beer garden pizza place that had great calzones, great, carpaccio.
Oh, I don't.
Maybe that's probably not the right word.
Ralph.
but it's like raw meat.
Ralph
Ceviche?
Carpaccio?
No,
Oh, the other one. Okay, yeah.
like so it was like thin shaved meat. It was very ceviche like very like
Lime.
lime kind of seasoned, but really, really, really good. It's apparently I think very Italian because everything else on their menu was very Italian. But yeah,
It is, yeah.
had yep, that's
Okay.
exactly.
Carpaccio.
Had some great tapas. Bunch of good food. I didn't eat much beans and rice. I also had several very good burgers. In fact, I think it was pre Gencon that I had mentioned, like, oh, I had one of the best burgers of my life. And then Paul was like, oh, you got to go to El Cheval in Chicago. El Cheval, yeah. It was still a very good burger.
So
in
thank you
Costa
for
Rica.
posting that burger so that we got a better burger. I'm getting.
Yeah.
Until I compare them side by side. Although
Portillo's is fine, right?
Yeah. We never would have known.
We never would have known.
No.
Had I acquiesced to the Portillo's.
No, and you
recommendation.
know what? I'm glad you didn't.
So that was Costa Rica. It was a bunch of fun. It was a lot of hard work, but I really enjoyed the work. I got to work with a bunch of engineers and stuff. And now I'm going to try and maybe try and find a way to get on their team as like an engineer tech if they get a position open in time. I'm
Nice.
also looking at other jobs though. So
Did you make bank at least?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, because I was working 60 hours a week overtime, and all of my meals were paid for down there. When I got back, I filed my expense report to get reimbursed for the things I had to spend out of pocket. My expense report was $900. Most of that was parking at DIA because I parked at DIA for 3 weeks.
That's funny.
Fuck you, dudes.
Yeah,
You parked it hourly, and I was like, really, man?
They did extend me for the week, which kind of sucked. We missed a Mile High Dungeon Delvers. It put us behind the 8 ball here on this. And then I didn't have a week. I did 3 weeks there, and then I came back and I did 1 day at work, and then I drove to Geekway.
Yep.
Which I'll talk about after I turn over Banter to you two. If you had any Banter things you wanted to get through
I think we were
real fast.
We're just talking about one game real quick that we played.
Did you been binging?
That we had been binging.
First, Metroid Dread.
Oh.
I've been playing a lot of Metroid Dread. Metroid Dread is a very good 2D Metroid. It's Metroid 5. It is the final part. So Metroid Prime, it's that GameCube series,
Yep.
Wii series. That's actually a prequel to the original NES Metroid. This is the 5th Metroid sequel to that original NES Metroid. I pumped in 8 hours into that over this weekend. It is a very good Metroidvania.
That's what I've heard.
Next up, New World, the MMO taking the universe.
Yep.
I played a bunch of that the week it came out, mostly because I was sick from work.
Yeah.
And that allowed me to play it as much as everyone else was fucking playing it.
Yeah.
And then after that was done, I don't think I've played very much since because I don't have time.
it helped for me too because I had, due to the high holidays, I had that Tuesday and Wednesday that it came out off. So I was able to be like, all right, I'll just fucking play for 2 days. Well, not straight, but close.
I went home sick halfway through Tuesday.
Yes. Yeah.
And then I bought it that night.
Yep. No, that was Monday.
I think I ended up picking it up Monday and downloading it and then not realizing I was about to be sick, which I did not. I did not bullshit out of work. And then I felt shitty for 3 days. I haven't.
But not too shitty to play a game.
I was not too shitty to sit at a computer and play a video game most of the day.
Yeah.
COVID negative. Got a COVID test. I actually went to the COVID place out of work that day to be like, I feel like shit. New World. It's a new MMO. It's got a bunch of gathering shit. It's almost like survival like in the amount of trees and bushes you can scavenge. Downside is most of them are useless until you get to the fancy materials later on. A lot of Guild Wars 2 in there with a lot of world versus world PvP stuff. Every territory can be owned by a guild, and then you can like put war against that guild by doing enough of the PvP quests.
But if you own an area, like there are hamlets, cities in the center, and you can have like property taxes and crafting taxes, like, and you make money
to
from
use
that.
Our forges, we will take a certain cut of every time that you're making an item out of there, and maybe that's 0.2 gold for your 100 steel or something like that. But with enough players, because there's 12 territories, you'll make a good amount of bank, but you do have to spend a lot of that to upgrade that city. But other guilds, because there's 3 factions, once you hit level 10, 20, something like that, you can join one of those factions, and then they war against each other. You can go and fight the fort, and then the fort will like give you certain benefits or negate the territory owner's benefits, because like if you're part of that guild, if you're part of that faction that owns it, you get like a discount or something like that.
You get discount on some stuff, especially when fast traveling, because there's no mounts or anything. You just have
just running.
You just got to hoof it.
Yeah, you're running.
Like, all right, I got a fucking 3 kilometer walk to go over there.
But
let's just go.
You can fast travel, but there's a special currency that only goes up to 1,000 that you can use to fast travel, and if depending on your weight of stuff you have, because each city is unto itself. So the auction house is not global for the whole server. The auction house is for that city alone. So you have 12 different economies happening in this whole world because that city is only trading with itself. You can go to one other city, buy something cheap, bring it to the city that's selling it for expensive, but you got to hoof it or pay a bunch of money in that fast travel cost. And then each different city has different tiers of certain crafting things. So like, early on, like people were like, who has a tier 2? Let's go there, because the tier 2 would let you make the bags that we're selling for 700 gold each or whatever. And now it's tier 3. I don't know if there's any tier 4s.
There are tier 5s.
There's tier 5s now. But like the higher tier that the city gets, the city will actually upgrade from settlement, and there's 5 tiers of cities. But there's also a PvE mechanic where there's like corruption invasions, and if you don't fight off the corruption will try and invade the territory, and if the corruption wins, they will knock everything down a tier, which is a significant amount of like investment for people that have it. But otherwise, it's like, I don't know, I have a sword and shield, and I have 3 skills. I don't think there's enough interesting combat with only the 3 skills. The combat's kind of the least interesting part about it for me.
I mean, you have different weapons that like 12 different like, weapons, maybe.
Like a 2-handed hammer, a 2-handed, what's the hammer? Axe.
There's a great axe. There's a hatchet. There's sword and shield. There's a spear. There's a rapier. Like, and then there's some ranged weapons.
There's like
and
an ice wand, a fire wand, and a Healy wand. But each
ice
of
gauntlet, fire staff, and then life staff.
Yeah, whatever. It's icy spells versus fiery spells.
Yeah, I'm just sending out wands.
But there's no class to your character. You're leveling up your weapons, and you can equip whatever you want. Doesn't matter. It's like if I had a sword and shield, it's at level 17. If I equip a great axe, it's at level 0. But I can level that up just like anything else.
Some of them are tied to specific stats, so you care about strength for the sword and for the
strength,
hammer.
Dexterity, constitution, focus, intelligence. Focus is the healing stat. Intelligence is the spell stat.
Yeah.
But the sword and shield is strength primary, dexterity secondary. So a bow is dexterity primary, so you can do sword, shield, and bow and kind of get your stats up in either one for a decent amount. I don't even know what the fuck the story is. I don't.
Every time I've just been like,
the main thing I know, because I was looking into it to see if I wanted to try and jump in with y'all.
No, you know what would have happened if you tried to do that.
You probably can't join our server.
Well, I can't now.
You can now.
It did expand. it takes place in our world.
Yeah, I was like, someone referenced Romans, and I was like, wait, this isn't a fantasy world that is totally original,
Yeah.
and I don't. Whoa,
It's a mystery island in the middle of the Atlantic.
It's kind of Atlantis-y type, but also like colonialism times.
Yeah.
Conquistadors and things like that.
Yeah, you're all a bunch of colonial fucks trying to like settle this island.
Oh, we're settling the shit out of it. Really, the corruption's the natives trying to fight us off. Really, at this point, the corruption is the Spirit Island.
Yeah, it's got some expeditions, which are basically like dungeons. The first
expedition equals dungeon.
Yeah, the first one was just it was all right, but the second one had a lot of more puzzle mechanics that made it a lot more interesting than the previous one. So. But yeah,
cool. And that was at like level 25 was the first dungeon, 35 was the second dungeon.
Yeah,
and you can't even get into the PvP stuff until you're 50.
Oh Jesus!
I mean, you can get to some of it, but
you can just do the world. You can do the PvP quests and stuff, but the wars and invasions, which are like the big scale, you have to be level 50.
Jesus.
But New World has been obsessing everyone.
I heard it's really hard. Sometimes
it's also $40 and no monthly subscription, which is nice.
Like I've heard that like it's so hard and things are so bad that like they put these carts everywhere and you can just like crawl into them to hide.
No. I
don't understand that reference. I don't understand that reference.
You actually do not.
Okay.
No, I'm asking.
I do not understand that reference.
So when you own a city, there are various little carts that have like fiber or rubber, and this one was a hide supply cart. So it's like a supply of hides,
like your cured hides, your rugged hides.
But the guy was just like, "Why can I hide this supply cart? What does that mean? Why do I want to do that?"
Okay.
And it's just like,
I have not seen that cart. I've seen the
somebody posted it in the Slack channel.
Yeah,
I've seen the hemp cart.
Yep,
multiple occasions, and I've used it. The cooking materials cart.
Yeah.
Also, the cooking materials are fucking like way too intricate.
Way too specific for certain things.
It's like you need this little bit of garlic. You need this little bit of rosemary. These are two entirely different resources.
Yeah, you got to have salt and pepper in order to make this thing.
You have to go into caves to get saltpeter.
Yep.
Like,
Jesus.
Yeah.
Like you need to go find the farm that randomly spawned the gourds or squashes for your one dish. The cooking is very
so you know what happens is normally people will just be like, all right, I'm just going to make a shitload of travel rations and get that skill up and then make those other things when I have time.
Yeah, it's
assuming that their kitchen is fucking high
Did you know an herb bush gives you every herb you've ever heard of at random?
It's really nice. You can get saffron, you can get mint, you can get rosemary.
Is it like the same bush? Like you can sit there and like, this time it was rosemary.
Let's say there's 6 right next to each other, and it gives you multiples of anything at one time. With one kind of like bulk. Like, what's that? Saffron?
No, it should be mint because mint's a fucking weed. Thyme?
It's
thyme?
No, but it's not. No, it's just like it's some made up name.
Yeah, it's not thyme.
They use for like making potions. So
gotcha.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird.
Yeah. All right. So you got tight 15 on Geekway?
Can I talk about Geekway?
Yeah, you got 15 minutes.
Okay. It's going to take more than 15 minutes, but I'll try to go fast.
16 minutes.
So that's the end of banter. Now I'm going to talk about Geekway and what I got to play.
The Broncos win?
The Broncos have not won in 2 weeks. The Broncos went 3-0, and I was very excited about it. And then
we're just tamping it down.
The expectation has been thoroughly tamped.
Geekway, let's go.
Yeah, Geekway. So Megan fucked up. Which is possibly because I fucked up.
Okay, all right. I was like throwing her under the bus. Huh?
There was some level of miscommunication about the schedule for Geekway this year. So she worked on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
So Wes and like Matt and Josh and I think other Wes and I think maybe even John, a bunch of people all got there Monday, got checked in, got their badges and gamed like all night Monday, like till like 1 or 2 in the morning. It seemed like that was one of the nights they went the hardest. Megan and I, meanwhile, Megan worked Monday. So Megan got home, packed, and then we jumped in the car. We left Denver about 9:30 p.m. Monday night. We drove all night, made it to St. Louis about 7:30 in the morning, went to my mom's house. She cooked us breakfast. We dropped off Jester because one of my mom's dogs passed recently, and the other dog has been very distraught, like where's my friend? I don't have a friend to play with. So she wanted us to bring Jester so that Jester could fill that gap for a weekend. Or, a couple days in the middle of the week.
Yeah, it's not a weekend. Midweek convention. Yeah, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday convention.
It fell very nicely over what is normally my weekend.
Yes.
But, yeah. So then we called the hotel. We stayed at the actual Embassy Suites there in the convention center.
Connected to the convention
Very
center.
nice.
Yeah.
Turns out,
very convenient.
Yeah, turns out the Embassy Suites, all of the rooms are suites. 2-room suites, all of them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So we stayed in the...
So you slept separately in your own queens? Or?
No, we had one king, and then we had like a nice living room. It was wonderful. And I didn't end up having to sleep on the couch at all, which I wasn't sure. You never know.
Great.
She didn't enjoy the last convention I drug her to, It was up in the air.
I see.
So we got there. We got an early check-in at noon because whatever. We got an early check-in at noon. We checked in, went and met up with everybody. We're hanging out. I don't remember if we played a game early that day. I feel like we played something, but then we were sitting there and we were both just like dead. And everybody's like, you guys should go take a nap. You drove all night. You haven't slept in over 24 hours. So we went up, we took a nap, and then we came back down and did play a little bit more games. I don't really remember what that whole first chunk was, kind of a blur.
Right. It always sucks when you're like, it's gonna be different this time.
And
then it's
is.
not. And you're always just like, I feel like shit.
I feel fucking awful.
Yeah. And then you guys got some 32-ounce Long Island iced teas, right? To really,
no, we didn't go that hard. We did not go that hard.
All right, my number one question: how many trips to the Quick Trip was there?
0.
You son of a bitch!
You motherfuckers!
Yeah, we didn't. We made no Quick Trip trips.
It's right there.
I know.
Except I guess it would have been very close to the hotel we were at last time.
Yeah, we stayed in this hotel, so we didn't have to leave nearly
Didn't have to
as often.
travel to the Bass Pro Shop for a cooler.
Nope. We brought a cooler. Planned ahead.
Jesus.
Brought 2. We brought a big cooler with all the beer in it, and then we had a very nice mini fridge that we put all the beer in, and then we had a small, like, portable cooler to take the beer back
traveling around.
Yeah.
So were you guys? Was it in the same area? Was the gaming in the same place?
Room?
Same big, huge
It
convention
was still
hall.
okay.
Yeah, all of that was the same. All the same side rooms.
Okay, I was curious because the couple pictures I saw made it give the appearance of it being a smaller room. So.
Well, different.
Nope. So it was all open. So it was still the same. They didn't have the small vendor area. It was just gaming space. I think one of the big things, they changed the floors. The floors were definitely different. And I don't know if that made it feel smaller or not, but it also might have had to do with like how they spaced out the tables. I don't know. But it was definitely the main...
Maybe that's what it was, is it wasn't just giant long rows of tables.
Yeah.
So that was the first... That was one of the things
20 to 55 seats on each end of each side of the table.
That was definitely something that stood out to me immediately, is like there was... it felt like more space. Like there was no struggle to find table space. Like we were pretty much consistently able to get the same like general regions. We were just like, oh, go roughly to table 12, and from there you'll be able to see us because we'll be at most like a table away.
Yeah.
Like the letters weren't as important for this one. It was just like, go to table 12, you'll find us. It wasn't like you need to go to table 12G, really narrow it down. They had those, but they weren't as necessary this year.
Yeah.
Geekway did require vaccinations.
Yep.
Did require masks. They were still pretty strict on masks, and you could tell there was like differing opinions on masks. Some people were like, well, we're all vaccinated, so like masks aren't as big of a deal. But then there were some people who were very much like, I saw people eating in the not eating area and I'm upset about it. I'm going to post on the Geekway Slack. So like there was a little bit of both. Kind of went a little both ways. Overall, I felt everybody did a good job. There wasn't a lot of drama. I never saw any drama about it at all.
Gencon also had like a designated like eating area for like, so they could, if people were trying to like, I'm going to eat popcorn for 30 minutes and have my mask down. And yeah, you had to do that in your area, not just wandering around the expo hall.
Yeah. Were you allowed to game in those areas?
No.
Okay. So same at Geekway. They were like, this is the mask free area where you can eat or just take a break and chat, but no gaming.
Yeah, but a lot of that felt like we made this rule because you're going to be fucking assholes about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Like this is where when you try to do that, we're just gonna be like, well, you need to go to that area.
Yes.
1 or 2 place, one or two tables I saw in the gaming area. They didn't like they had taken their masks off when they were playing, but they were far enough away that I was like, whatever. Also, there was a guy table next to us that like some cops came in and then he just fucking bolted.
Was there cops that came in?
I thought it was cops. It looked like it was cops. I don't remember. And then eventually he came back.
Was that the guys playing Stratego?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Weird.
Yeah.
But they weren't wearing masks at that table. And then he just like bolted off like through a random door, like
weird.
Yeah, in the middle of the game. And then they came back later and like cleaned up.
Yeah. And I was like, okay.
I was like,
did they all bolt or just one guy?
It was just two of them.
It was just two of them.
Yeah.
They both bolted.
One of them bolted and the other one just walked away.
Wandered around the game library for a while.
Yeah.
Weird.
And then also disappeared.
Weird.
For like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And then they came back.
Weird. Anyway,
it was super weird.
It was.
Yeah.
So games that I played. I'll just blast through some games that I played. So we did a few play-in wins.
I'm just thinking of Ghostbusters lyrics.
Wow. First game that we played, certainly in terms of like what sticks in my brain is like things we played. So from play-in win, we did Pan Am, which was a lot of fun. So Pan Am, you are each take on the role of small regional airlines in like the 40s, like, you know, Indiana Jones time, jet setting around the world.
30s.
They went 30s into 40s. Like,
okay, I'm just saying, Indiana Jones time's 30s now. 40s.
Oh. Well, I feel like
that
prop
general,
planes traveling around where you have to like, you know, the Indiana Jones like tracker where you have to make a shit ton of stops.
A lot of stops.
Yeah.
Yes.
A lot of smoking on the plane.
So you're
freely smoking.
You're small airlines, and then Pan Am is like the game's airline, and it's slowly spreading and buying up routes. And you actually kind of want it to buy your routes because it pays really good for them. And the whole goal of the game is to have the most stock in Pan Am at the end of the game. So on your turn, you can like build some routes and do some stuff. You have like little workers that you get to place. Like it's a little bit of a worker placement. And then you can build control towers or fund routes. Routes increase your income based on the length of the route. And you have to like buy bigger and bigger planes to fly bigger and bigger routes. And then Pan Am has their phase where you roll the Pan Am die and it tells you which one of the three like main air paths it moves along and buys up routes. And then there's like event cards where you can sell routes and stuff like that. And then at the end of each round, you can buy stock based on whatever the current stock price is, and it fluctuates based on the events. Generally going up over the course of the game. So you want to buy as much stock as you can early because it gets more and more expensive. It was a very close game. I think it was, I don't remember what the final score was, but it was like Victor 1 point less, second place 1 point less, third place.
Where were you at?
I was second place. Megan narrowly beat me.
Oh, okay.
I did not win a single competitive game all of Geekway.
Woo!
Yeah.
We did it,
I
everyone.
won some cooperative games, but that's it.
Congratulations, everyone.
It was so the rule book was great. It was very easy to learn from the rule book. And the gameplay itself, it was way more interesting than it had any right to be. Like reading through the rule book, I was like, this is going to be not interesting enough. And then it actually kind of was. And I ended up really enjoying it and would happily play Pan Am again.
You can get it at Target
Probably.
for $25.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's
I would definitely pay $25 for Pan Am.
Hmm.
Moving on to a game that I already own, that wasn't from Play and Win. We did a 5-player game of Spirit Island, which is my biggest Spirit Island yet.
Goes to 6.
It goes to 6. We did it with.
I want to say Mile High Cabin Con got a 6-player.
Yes, they did. I'm very jealous. So our 5-player game was Megan and I, who are both very experienced. Lance, who had played in the past, but not very much. And then we taught Wes.
Lance? The Lance?
He was there as well.
Wow. A lot of fish shows, too.
Oh, yeah. Lance, who had played before, and then Wes, who had never played. We had to teach him. No, the Wes. Denver Wes.
Oh, the Denver Wes. Denver Wes. Okay.
And
there's too many Wes's.
There are too many Wes's. There were 2 Wes's at this convention.
Yeah.
And literally 2 Wes's, and both of them are tied to Mile High Game Guys.
I know.
And also Matt. From Ohio. Matt in Ohio from New Jersey.
Yes.
That's published by Funko Games.
Who had also never played. Yes, Pan Am,
Pan Am
published by
is
Funko. So Wes and Matt had never played. We taught them. Lance had played once a long time ago or twice, like not very much. And then Megan and I are obviously
That's
fairly
about
experienced.
me when we reviewed it, I think.
Yeah. We ended up winning. We crushed. We did very well.
Annihilate.
Did
you annihilate the English? Or
We didn't. We especially with two new players and a 5-player.
Nice.
We did baseboard, no scenario, no adversary. If we had a chance to play again, we definitely would have played thematic map and probably an adversary. But we were just happy to get a game in, and it went really well. Everybody kind of got it. I feel like I did a decent job teaching the core mechanics.
What was the length?
Like 2.5 to 3 hours, I want to say. I'm not sure.
Pretty long.
Yeah. I mean, it's a 5-player game at Spirit Island.
Yeah. Pretty long.
Pretty good time. I don't remember for sure. And that might have been, we might have played that first, like pretty early on.
Yeah.
That might have been before we even took our naps that first day. I can't remember.
Pre-nap.
Might
Pre-nap
have
Spirit
been,
Island.
Might have been pre-nap.
Yeah.
We played, let's see. I don't know. I'm not going to worry about trying to recall every single game I played. We played a game called I don't remember what it was called. It was a weird maze game. It was cooperative.
Magic Maze.
No.
Okay.
No, it was not. I had to think for a second. No. So this one, it's very dark horror kind of theme.
Not necrophobia.
Nope, it's not.
Necrophilia?
Nyctophobia. It is not nyctophobia either. It's also not necrophobia.
That's a necrophilia. That's a different
I don't
game.
remember what it's called. Lance, Wes, if either one of you remember, please.
Is that where you have to be blindfolded and then you're touching things?
No.
Okay.
That's Night something?
I can't. I legitimately can't remember. I'm just going to describe the game. I cannot remember the name.
No, we're going to stay here until we guess it.
So in the game, basically,
Corridor.
the God damn it. The theory, the idea behind the game is that you are, however many players you are all, it's cooperative. You all wake up in this like dungeon, blind, and like it's pitch black, and you find a candle, and you have your candle, and so it illuminates every space adjacent to you, and you're searching for keys, and then trying to get to the key room to get out.
I think Wes and I saw that game at Gencon.
Yeah.
Night Gate.
It's fairly new. And as you explore, you can find wax eaters, and they're there to eat your candles. So they don't kill you, but they put out your candle, and then you really are fucked.
But the Night Cage?
Yes.
But take candle.
Huh?
But take candle.
Take the candle.
You take the candle.
No.
No, you take candle.
Yeah. I have no idea what you're referencing.
It's a World of Warcraft reference. Kobolds. They all have candles on their heads, and every time you attack them, you're like, take candle.
Yeah.
Because that's your quest.
But then you just kill them, so then it's fine.
And then you take candle.
Anyhow. Yeah. Night Cage. So at first we were like, it starts weak. Like, you're like, we're just exploring. Like, it's easy to avoid monsters, like, whatever. But then, like, as you get closer to the end, it gets really tense, and we barely won. And it might be because we cheated, because we forgot to discard tiles every time the monsters did attack us.
Cheating at games makes it a lot more fun.
It definitely ups your victory.
Yes, it does.
Boy, you sure to win a lot more.
Yeah.
We were close because we were doing the math like
you're playing by your own rules.
because we still had enough tiles where we think if we had played right, in fact, it probably would have helped us because the 3 we were supposed to discard would have included monsters that we ended up then fighting. So we felt it was about even.
Sure.
But the game gets much more tense, much more interesting right there at the end. So really liked the Night Cage is what that one was. I played
The Night Cage Cometh.
Played Hallertau, which for most of the convention I called Hallertau, until somebody was like looking at it and they're like, that is not that. So this comes, I blame this on my like reading of like a lot of like fantasy fiction and stuff. Well, I don't try like, because you read fiction, like fantasy books, and people just make up stupid names.
That's true.
And it's like, there's no reason for me to try to learn how to
if the A and the T were switched, I could see that.
Yeah.
But they're not.
No, so it's Hallertau. So it's very
much a Matryoshka sort of situation.
Yes, a Matryoshka situation.
Don't you mean
Matryoshka.
That sounds more
Matryoshka.
right. Yeah.
I don't remember.
Matryoshka.
It's been like 2 hours since we listened to that clip.
Yeah.
Hallertau is the newest UVA game. Came out 2020. So this was one. Basically, when we did the first pass through the plane, when I identified like 3 games I really wanted to learn. One of them I already forgotten. I didn't end up getting to do, but Hallertau and Captains of the Gulf were 2 of them.
That's one thing that always puts Geekway up there for me, is that it has games that you're incentivized, like new games that you want to be incentivized to try out on the chance that you win them.
Yep. So Hallertau, it's UVA, so it's another like farming in Europe. Hallertau is apparently one of the regions in Germany where hops are like the most grown, or the most hops are grown.
It is about farming?
So it's about farming.
What?
I know.
Wow.
So you're competing villages.
My God.
You're each your own entire village. You're not your own farm. You're your own entire village. It's got an action board that's somewhat similar to
a common action board.
Yeah, very similar. Very similar vibes.
Next, you're going to say there's like squares or rectangles.
Is there any sort of like placement of workers in this?
Yes. So that's what you're doing on center board. Common worker placement.
Oh my God.
And if you place one worker to do an action, the next person to take that action has to place 2 workers.
Talk about reinventing the wheel,
and if somebody else wants to do that action a 3rd time, 3 workers.
Oh my God.
So
never been done before.
Well, sure. Like, is there any way to grow the amount of workers you have?
Yeah. So as you make your village bigger, then you get more and more workers.
It's not baby
to
making?
a max of 12. No baby making in this one. Instead, it's got a really clever kind of board. So the player boards plural. There's like 6 of them.
Oh God.
It is a bit excessive. So you have a jewelry board that's a small little treasure
how are we gonna
chest.
fit that? I know you said you were.
It'll fit. They're not that big, and it's really it's
a lot. It's quite a few boards, and that's personal.
Those are all of your personal boards.
Are you sure this isn't Dinosaur World that we're looking at?
Yeah. Most of them aren't nearly as important. Like they're all.
Don't get distracted
they're all
by
important.
us.
They're
Don't
all
get
important.
distracted by
It's
us.
so hard not to.
Just keep going.
Basically, you're
there.
using the center board to get goods and resources, just like every UVA game. I know your mind is blown. Where it actually feels different. So you have this.
There's cards.
Village board.
That are
no, that's also very UVA. So your sheep can die.
Okay.
When you get a sheep, it doesn't just live forever until you choose to kill it and eat it. They die of natural causes if you don't kill them and eat them in time. So that's different.
So time plays a factor in this.
In your sheep only.
Oh, okay. People don't die of natural causes?
No.
Okay.
No. Well, presumably they do, but just not on the time scale of sheep.
Yes. Yeah. 100%. 100%.
If anyone knows Italian Spider-Man, that's what I'm showing everyone right now.
Anyhow, so the thing that really sets this apart that I really liked, the main like board that you have is a track, and you've got this like cottage tile that slides along it. And so it's got a little window, and that's what shows like whatever that window is over shows how many workers you get that round. You start with 6, you can get up to 12. Next to that is 6 different like village workspaces. Like there's like the butcher and like the weaver and like the baker and shit like that. And you feed goods into those. They take a different amount of goods, and each round you need more and more goods, but that moves them along the track. And once you've moved them enough that there's a space, that whole village tile slides to catch up to them.
Upgrades.
Okay.
And it's just a cool,
That sounds cool.
easier to see, but it's a cool mechanism. I really like the way that played out. The farm board is also really cool. So similar to Agricola, you have farms and you can plant things. Unlike Agricola, field fertility is a mechanic in this game. So the fields are on this like little
That's a very fertile field.
They're on the tile that they're on. There's room to like do, I don't know, 10 of them across or something. And then there's 4 levels
That's a
of
long
them.
fertile field.
So each time you go through the same phases, and most of it is done simultaneously. And one of the things is before you harvest, any fields that are empty, you move them up a notch. And then you harvest from ones that have food, and the food just moves across. There's like a little scale, like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. And you move the goods directly across. So the higher the field is on that, the more you get when you harvest from it. And then anything you harvested from, you move it down a notch. So instead of like Agricola, where when you plant, like carrots always get a certain amount, or wheat, all, you know, like they're different stacks depending on what you plant. This time it's how fertile the fields are. And it's a fucking tricky balance to like keep your fields fertile enough to make things versus just like, I'm just going to keep planting them and only harvesting 2 each fucking round because I don't give a shit. I just need fucking crops.
Yeah.
I can't let my field sit fallow for a turn.
You don't want your fields barren, man.
No, barren fields. Whew. I really liked Hallertau.
It's a different game.
It was easily my favorite game of the convention. So much so that after I did not win it in Play and Win, I bought somebody else's Play and Win copy.
Nice.
So thank you, in case you're listening, thank you, Craig Sanderlin, for selling me your Hallertau for $40.
Woo.
Woo.
Yeah.
They're expert level branded.
Yeah, so Lookout Games apparently is doing this thing where they tell you like what level of game it is, and Hallertau is apparently expert level.
Expert.
I also played Captains of the Gulf with Megan and Josh. I'm going to try and move fast through the rest of this shit. So that one I was trying to learn the game. Did a lot of learning the games just from rulebooks. Hallertau's rulebook, surprisingly understandable and easy to grok and then teach from. Captains of the Gulf, not as much. I started Captains of the Gulf. It was the first one. I played it before Hallertau, and it was the first new game that I really tried to like, that was heavyish, that I tried to learn and then teach. And I was sitting there and reading the rules to Josh and Megan until Josh kind of waved at me and pointed at Megan, and we looked over and she was asleep. So I put Megan to sleep reading the rule book for Captains of the Gulf.
Okay.
So at that point, I stopped reading it out loud. I just read through it, felt like I had a decent enough grasp, woke Megan up, taught them, then we played. It wasn't very good. I was not.
But it's a thematic action selection game full of flavor.
Sure, I guess. I don't know. A lot of it just didn't.
It's fairly new, right?
It's newish. 2018, 2019.
Maybe there's, I don't know. I've seen it around a lot. Maybe there's a reprint out or something.
2018 is what it's listed.
That's the second time that's happened.
Microphone box. That's all.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's ranked 3,523rd.
What could go wrong?
Well, I thought that was because it was kind of an obscure heavy game. Like, I know the designer Jason Dinger. He's a really nice person.
It's only 474 ratings.
Yeah, so it's not very well. No. It's a fairly obscure game, and I'd heard a lot of good things about it from like heavy cardboard type people. So I'd been really excited about it. It kind of fell flat.
Game.
Was there a lack of tension?
No.
Okay, because that's what the most recent thread was called. I was just curious.
I mean, I didn't feel like there was a distinct lack of tension. Megan got ultra fucked by the repopulation wheel, not repopulating shrimp in the Gulf of Mexico. So after the initial shrimp in the Gulf of Mexico got fished, they never fucking came back until the very end of the game.
What you have to do is you have to go out and fish during the hurricane, then you get all the shrimp. And then Lieutenant Dan.
There you go.
I mean, to be fair, the picture makes it look like there's not that many shrimp.
It's just one big one.
Just one
big fucking
one
shrimp.
big shrimp the size of a boat.
Did you know all shrimp are just chipped away from one large shrimp?
That makes sense.
Yeah, and crafted into
one of the things I think I didn't like about it the most, and Megan, the greatest irony, Megan really didn't like it either. And then she fucking...
That is very ironic.
And then she fucking won it in the play to win, is the ironic part.
Okay.
We finished up the game on the last day when they were doing the play and win, and I left to go drop some stuff off at the room and grab some beers and waters, and I came back, and I was like, why do we have Captains of the Gulf sitting out? And she goes, oh, why indeed? Could it be because I won it in the play to win? I was like, oh no.
Oh no.
Yeah, I definitely, like, the second time we did that, I was like, only games I care about I want my name on, because I don't want to win it, because you can only win one.
Yep.
And if I win a shitty game, I'm gonna be real mad.
Yep. So we're gonna give it another chance. We feel like some of it was the bad teach, and like we were clearly exhausted, considering Megan fell asleep during the teach.
Mm-hmm.
Which a lot of, like, I don't think Josh made fun of it as much, but I think Matt did. I mean, maybe Lance mentioned regularly using our voices to fall asleep to. So it wasn't that big of a stretch for Megan to do it too.
Yeah. She just has to listen to your voice.
Yeah.
You just guys get in a heartfelt conversation, right? And then she's like, nice. Yeah.
Out like a light.
Yes.
So she won it. We're going to give it another chance. I think it has some potential. But I was very disappointed in my first play of it. We'll just say. I played also, we did fancy gaming, cause it was free.
Yes.
And so we got fancied up. Wes got very fancy. Megan also wore a very nice dress. I wore like a button down shirt. I went and bought a new hat because I forgot my Panama hat. So I bought a brand new hat, went to a hat store downtown St. Louis, found a nice hat. Yep. It was me, and it was a very, very, we'll say stylish gentleman, a little bit older, like a blue linen suit, getting a hat. You know, there might be terms you'd call someone dressed such as him. Maybe like a pimp down there buying a very nice, you might call it a pimp hat.
A wide brim, maybe.
He was definitely of a sort.
Okay.
His suit, I'll give him credit, was very nice, very well fitting, very flamboyant.
Yeah.
As was the hat he ended up buying. Myself, I went for a little bit more subdued hat.
You didn't walk in, look at that, and be like,
there we go.
I want one of those.
No,
one of those, please.
But
with my button-down shirt.
I did appreciate though that the hat store it served all kinds. They even had ball caps, literally all kinds of hats, whatever you want, you get, as long as you're a dude, no girl hats.
As long as you're a dude.
Anyhow, fancy gaming. We did Terraforming Mars, 4-player Terraforming Mars.
Woo.
Went very good.
Base game?
I did
No
not
Prelude?
win. No, we did Prelude. We did.
Okay. Is this a copy that was brought in?
It was mine that I brought.
See. Okay.
Yeah.
Especially because in the fancy gaming thing, they talked about like what constitutes fancy. And one of the things was like, you want to come in your normal clothes and just play your fancy game of Terraforming Mars with all of the upgrades and stuff. You can do that too.
Okay.
And so I was like, well, and so we played that. So it was me, Wes, Matt, and Megan. Matt came dressed as a Triceratops.
Nice.
That was his fancy suit. It was great.
They put a tie on too?
He did.
Nice.
He did. Triceratops.
Straight out of Dinosaur?
Sure.
No, what was the ABC?
Dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs, plural?
I used to have a Jurassic Park necktie.
I don't remember
was
who
a kid.
won. It wasn't me. I think it was Megan. Megan fucking crushed plants. She greened Mars.
She's got the
very
green
well.
plant
She
thing
loves,
going hard.
And I even got the green company, and in very spitefully, and this was really the problem, is at the beginning of the game, I was like, oh, did you want Econoline? Oh, because I'm going to actually just discard Econoline, and I'm going to play Phoblag.
Well, don't worry, I will crush you into Martian dust.
Yeah, which she did.
Yeah.
I did very well as Phoblag when it came to space events.
What immediately played in my mind was like the Lizard King thing from The Office.
I do not understand this reference.
Okay, we'll play that after.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then I also learned the crew, which you guys are correct. Fantastic. Holy shit. Really good.
I own, but have not played.
Oh, man. Crew. Really good. Really enjoyed
It's a trick-taking game that he might actually like.
Yeah.
When I was at work last Friday.
Yes.
There was someone at the tables in the tap room just like playing board games. They played the Crew and another game that I don't remember off the top of my head.
It's a shame.
They were playing board games. We got them a round of beers because me and the marketing manager both love board games, and we asked the tap room manager, I was like, can we get them a round of free beers? And they're like, yeah, you can. And then they got free beers because they were playing board games at Avery.
Nice.
You got them the beers and you just dumped them all over their board games.
Nerds. And then when we walked up and were chatting with them, they were clearly very international.
Okay.
Let's say Central European.
Sure. Last game I'm going to talk about.
It's good. You've been talking forever.
Oh my God.
Shut the fuck up.
30 whole minutes. Jesus Christ. For one
and
convention.
Not even one quick trip.
Yeah.
Not even one quick trip.
At least 10 minutes of our would have been quick trip.
Yeah.
Anyhow, I brought and I've been wanting to learn for a very, very long time, years even. Panamax. I've had it for a long time, wanted to learn it. So at one point, it was towards the end of the convention, they were cleaning up the halls. Everything was done. And I was like kind of reading the rule book, and Megan and Matt and Josh were like, fuck it, let's play it. I think it was Josh. Definitely Megan and Matt. And so we started to play it, and good God, that rule book is trash. One of the worst fucking rule books I've seen in quite some time. The teach was brutal, but we struggled through it. We played 2 of the 3 rounds. So each round you get like 4 turns. So we played 8 of the 16 possible turns. That doesn't,
12,
that math doesn't
12,
add up.
8
12
of
turns.
12.
12 turns.
Yes.
8 of the 12 turns. And then we called it because the convention staff was like stacking chairs all around us, and the game had been rough enough that we're like, all right, well, let's just do a modified final scoring based on this. Like, this is a good enough stopping point. Because like, huh?
I was saying you didn't even win that.
No, no, Josh beat me on that too. But all 4 of us did agree that despite the terrible rule book, we enjoyed it and would like to try it again sometime now that we feel like we have a better understanding of how to actually play. There's still some ambiguities that even the internet couldn't answer about like when you're allowed to load cargo onto a train versus a ship.
Let's talk about instant die in Too Many Bones.
Yeah. So that was it for games. We did do a trip to Southern. So we got hot fried chicken from Southern. They currently are doing only takeout, although they did have a couple tables outside along the sidewalk that we were able to sit and eat at. It was, I feel like when I went there before, they had the mild, which they say like it's hotter than you think. And then I thought they had a medium.
They did
in the past. So they didn't now. They had mild and then hot. And then
because I'd always get medium, like a medium chicken sandwich or the chicken biscuit, and then a hot breast.
Okay.
So
I went mild because it's hotter than you think. It was, I wanted more hot. I wanted hotter than what it was.
you know, you could do is you can also just ask for a bunch of the hot like oil on the side, and then you can just dip it in there.
You know what? It was so delicious.
How was it coming out?
It was fiery. Fiery hell. It's like, we got to time out, everyone. I got to go to the bathroom for like 20 minutes so everyone knows.
And then we just hear distant.
It's like you're screaming.
Anyway, it was really good. We went to Salt and Smoke, which is a very good barbecue. And we ate at otherwise we basically got a bunch of fast food because the food options were kind of shitty.
You know, there was a good fast food option.
Quick Trip.
Yeah.
They got good food there. Like 50 cent.
Yeah, they're taquitos, man.
Yeah.
And breakfast stuff.
Yeah, I know. I used to work at Quick Trip. I know Quick Trip. It's just no one else gave a shit.
Well, you make them give a shit.
Our yeast plant manager also used to work at Quick Trip.
He's also
from
used
St.
to work.
Louis. He went to SLU. Right next to Southern.
It was interesting. We talked about later the fact that on this trip in St. Louis, on 3 different occasions, I got warned about the spice level of food, that all 3 of which were like, even by my weak ass standards,
which are weak,
were very weak. Like, so we went to a taco place one of the first days we were there, that was right across the street from the convention center. And we were ordering tacos, and I was like, I'll take the grilled chicken taco and something. She goes, just so you know, the grilled chicken taco is our hottest taco. It's pretty hot. And I was like, yeah, fuck it, why not? It was the hottest thing I ate all weekend, but it wasn't like dying hot.
It's like my nose was running.
Not even. Like, I could feel it, and I got a little sweat, just a touch of sweat.
It wasn't mustard that just cleaned out your sinuses.
No.
Okay.
And then we
don't sweat when I eat spicy things.
Oh man, I do.
I
definitely do, on like the back of my head especially.
Oh, top of my head.
Oh yeah. I might have enough hair up here that it just absorbs
this
it.
This is an unknown experience to me.
Southern made me sweat a little, but I would have liked to sweat more.
Maybe I'm not eating hot enough things.
And then the other place was Qdoba. I went to get their hot queso on my
Diablo,
thing.
queso Diablo.
And she was like, you want the hot queso? And I was like, yeah, like it's Qdoba. How hot can it be? She's like, it's pretty hot. I was like, I'll live with that decision. And it wasn't hot at all. So yeah. So the taco place, Qdoba, and then the third one was Southern with the mild. It's hotter than you think, but it wasn't
hot enough.
It wasn't really that hot. So compared to, like I said, Costa Rica, where I tried forever to find hot food. And then when I did, oh boy.
Burned your tongue out of your skull.
So that was Geekway. It was a bunch of fun. It was good getting to hang out with Matt and Josh. We saw John very briefly at the beginning of the convention. Didn't really see him much the rest of the convention. Wes stopped by a couple times. Oh, that was the other game that I played that I want to talk about real quick. I can't remember the name of it, but Wes, the designers are from St. Louis. He knew them. It's a party game. Hues and Cues is the name of the game. Hues and Cues.
Yeah. Was it a Kickstarter?
I think there was a Kickstarter. It was also like, apparently, according to them, it was Dice Tower's party game of the year. They tried to get it in the play and win, but they were just like a week behind. Shipping. When it finally arrived, it was a week too late. But it's a party game where you get a card and it's got like 4 of the colors on it, and the board itself is a big, huge like color palette. And so you get to do 2 clues. It's one of those games that's competitive, but you as the giver of clues want everybody to get close because you get points the closer people are. And then people want to get close because they get points the closer they are. But you're still trying to have the most points at the end.
You want to be a good guesser and a good clue giver.
Yep. So the first, you get to give 2 clues as a clue giver. The first clue can only be 1 word, and it cannot be any primary color. So it can't be like blue, red, yellow. It can be like weird things like chartreuse or, something maybe like paisley. You could say paisley is a color.
Yeah, I very distinctly remember this
Yeah.
board because I was like, that's just a color board.
Yep.
Like,
so you guys didn't react nearly strongly enough to that. Paisley is not a color. Paisley is a like pattern. Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't know that. I gave paisley as a clue, meaning a color. And that turned into one of the funniest rounds of the entire game is people tried to guess what fucking color is he mean.
This is paisley. It's your
what color was it supposed to be?
Like a pale blue.
It's your pattern that looks like microscopic single cell organisms.
Yeah.
That's your.
To be fair, when
paisley
I googled paisley, like 8 of the top 10 results were all the color I had in mind.
Like
the paisley is
that one.
Paisley is a
which one? Let me see.
Design.
Bottom left, but not as dark as the dark part of it. But like if you're looking at it from a distance, how it kind of looks a little paler.
Should have just said Lisboa.
That would have been a great one too.
Yes.
Yeah. Why weren't you there, Jeff?
So your first clue,
I was working because it was the middle of the fucking work week.
Your first clue has to be one word, and everybody places 1, and then and you can kind of see where everybody places, and then you give a second clue, and then that can be 2 words, and then everybody places their thing, and then
so it's Lisboa and fucking Lisboa.
You cannot ever repeat a word, even in future clues. Like if I say chartreuse, so the next person can't be like chartreuse.
Gotcha. Okay, so that's why you said paisley's. You want to make sure nobody else got. You were like, I got to get it in that. Dude, get that in early.
5D chess, man. 5D chess. Yeah,
but you're playing checkers, so
it was a bunch of fun. I enjoyed it, and that's going to be it for Geekway stuff. Because it's 2 hours and 20 minutes. I called it about 2.5 hours. All right, well, then let's do some listener feedback. So we're going to start off here with Paulo's Corner. Way the shit back from September 16th on episode 242, our last episode, not in our favor. Paulo says, here I am again. You know what time it is. And he throws a YouTube link on how to pronounce matryoshka, is how we were saying it. It is more of a matryoshka. Matryoshka. Depending on how much of a Russian accent you want to throw on it, we were definitely swapping the Y and the O in that one.
Not matryoshka. Matryoshka.
Yeah. Everyone I have ever met has always said it matryoshka.
That's a very American way to say it.
Yeah. So, but
you know how we Americans do it.
Paulo always correcting us.
Absolutely.
So that was it for the YouTube comments section of listener feedback. Now moving on to emails.
Emails at milehighgameguys.com if you'd like to send us an email. Like this Ryan person did, to whom it may concern, Adrian. Hi, MHGG. Long time, first time.
Okay.
Dear Adrian, how does it feel to not only lose to Notre Dame, but to lose to a bad Notre Dame team? Your big, dumb-ass drum shall never step foot in our stadium again. Totally unrelated, and a question for all. If Adrian had to sit down and play a board game as punishment for losing a bet, which game would you make him play? Let's keep it under 3 hours, and generally a fun game to play for everyone else. Thanks, and keep up good work, anonymous Notre Dame Homer guy.
So to answer his first question, it always sucks to lose to the shit fuck team that is Notre Dame. The most bullshit of all bullshit teams.
Who lost to Notre Dame?
Purdue Boilermakers.
Purdue lost
the
to
Purdue
Notre
Boilermakers lost.
Is that their team name? The Boilermakers?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
No, they lost to the Notre Dame racial slurs.
What?
Fighting Irish.
Oh.
And the reference to the drum, so they remodeled their stadium since the last time Purdue played
there was something about the drum couldn't fit into the thing.
They used to not have a visitor tunnel, so everybody just came through the main tunnel. And Purdue's drum fits through the main tunnel because it's a big main tunnel. Well, then they remodeled, they added a shit little tiny visitor tunnel because they're afraid of our drum. And they made it too short for the drum. And so now the drum couldn't get in there. And so despite this being like, I don't know, some big anniversary of the drum, like the 100th anniversary or something.
Yeah.
Which is supposedly the biggest drum in college sports, supposedly.
Wow.
But Notre Dame was like, no, you can't use our big tunnel. If it doesn't fit through the little tunnel, you can't bring it on the field.
What about a buffalo? Can we bring the buffalo out on the field?
I think the buffalo is smaller than the drum, so probably.
Okay. Buffaloes are pretty big.
But they were rude.
Is this drum bigger than a buffalo?
It is certainly taller than a buffalo.
Okay.
I doubt it weighs as much as a buffalo.
Probably not. That drum that's full of air.
Buffaloes also kind of filled with air. Not as much air as the drum.
No.
It's certainly a lot more things other than air.
That's
Whereas
true.
the drum is really just mostly air.
Mostly meat and ramming speed.
Do you guys have any suggestions right now in the immediate aftermath?
I would say Arabian Nights, but you recently did it.
Yeah.
And enjoyed it.
Yeah.
That would have been my
That's
off the top of the
here.
head, make Adrian play Arabian Nights.
You have to make it a game that I'm not going to be so fucking shitty about that it's going to ruin it for everybody else. So that probably kills Rising Sun.
That part wasn't in here. We had to enjoy it. Your misery was also not part of
But
that.
I think you guys know how shitty I can be when I'm really having a miserable time, and I can ruin games for other people.
Yeah.
Again,
8-player Munchkin?
Ooh, something Munch, but then we would hate it.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was trying to think. I
You still have a copy of Munchkin Quest.
No.
not like this.
No.
Not like this.
I thought that was Tilda Swinton for so many years.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'll buy it.
Yeah.
Honestly, without that go-to of Arabian Nights, I don't know. At the
It's
top.
hard to pull off the top of my head.
There are ones that I could think of, but I just haven't played them, so I don't know if they would work at all.
Yeah.
It'd have to be a random, I don't know.
We'll
Cosmic Frog?
We haven't played it.
We haven't
I
played
have
it.
no idea.
We don't know.
I don't know. You're on your own, Ryan, a.k.a. anonymous Notre Dame Homer guy. Next up and last up on email.
Next up and last up, if I can find
It's the very top.
There it is. This one comes from the hater himself. Kaiser, titled Calendars. It's been a long time coming since we've been deserving this one, by the way.
Long time.
Listen, the calendar has changed. It's been over a month since this mistake. But time hasn't changed the fact that y'all are wrong about something. It's an easy thing to be wrong about. In your discussion of Roman changes to the calendar, y'all remember this board game podcast, right? You said 2 truths and a lie. November does mean the 9th month, and September is the 7th, October is the 8th, and December is the 10th. It is also true that July is named for Julius Caesar and August is for Augustus Caesar, but it's a common misconception that those 2 facts are linked. The earliest Roman calendar was 10 months, but they were still of 30 or 31 days. So the months got completely out of place in the year.
That seems awful. Could you imagine if like July was sometimes summer and sometimes fucking winter because of stupidity?
Yeah. Ancient time. No, it's not stupidity because ancient times. Or, ellipses, maybe not. That's what late Roman historians said. And the only real evidence is the names of the months, which they thought were weird too, but the months that Julius Caesar and Augustus Caesar took for their own were Menissus Quintilis and Menissus Sextilis, or 5th and 6th. So they were just as wrong as all the ones after them. If only there were 4 more Roman emperors arrogant enough to rename months, only historians super into the calendar would even know this was a thing. As in Julius Caesar. To be fair, Slackbot gif here, Mark Antony changed it to July after Julius's death. Augustus ran
Plebiscite.
Plebiscite? Ran a plebiscite.
It's like before a website. So
oh,
it's a website for plebeians.
It's like a Roman website.
Yeah.
So
there's a lot more columns. In the background.
A lot of gladiators. So it looks like people asked him to change it to August, but we all know. Also, just to give Jeff something fun to say, one guy that reformed the calendar centuries before Julius and Augustus was named, I'm going to assume Gaius Flavius, Gnaeus Flavius. Anyway, I'm glad you continue to get things wrong. It gives me a reason to keep in touch with you. All the best, you twits, the hater. That's a lot of calendar.
It's been a while since he signed off as the hater, too.
Yeah.
I remember those days. Who the fuck is this hater guy?
How about that Jupiter, man? I've heard good things about him.
Yep.
What?
It's a Jupiter, Zeus, gods.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
That wraps it up for listener feedback.
Yeah, that's it.
If you would like to get in touch with us, you can do so in a number of different ways. I'm going to blast through these. You can send us an email.
Emails at milehighgameguys.com.
You can follow us over on Twitter, where I tweet under at MHGameGuys.
I am Zach_MHGG.
I am Jeff_MHGG.
We have an Instagram account at MHGameGuys. We also have Facebook, facebook.com/MHGameGuys.
I think podcasts can go up there now or something.
Podcast episodes now published to Facebook directly.
Weird.
Yeah, they have our RSS feed.
Huh.
They have everything. It's fucking
true.
Facebook.
Unless they're down.
Oh, man, I wish we could have had more banter.
Yeah.
For a website, go to punchboardmedia.com. Check out all of the other contributors to Punchboard Media, and then search for Mile High Game Guys or MHGG to find our episodes, as well as the show notes for said episodes that have links to things like news and Kickstarters that we do usually talk about. We just haven't in a fucking month.
It's fine.
It's be great. You can also find links to things like our Slack channel, so you can join. That's where a bunch of chat and conversation and things happen.
Most activity.
Con organization. Speaking of which, we have officially booked all 3 cabins for Mile High Cabin Con in May. There is still a few spots available. So if you want to come to Mile High Cabin Con in May, I don't remember the dates exactly. 18th through the 22nd, I want to say.
18th to the 22nd.
Bam, I'm good. Every once in a while.
We got 24 confirmed with 5 maybes floating right now.
And I think we've got 30-ish spaces. So there's just a little bit of room left.
But just know that it's either like one room by yourself or you're sharing, like it's 4 beds in the same room. So
yeah,
I just want people to know that there's a possibility of, if you're not okay with sharing rooms.
Yeah. We'll be slowly starting to figure out who gets what rooms and things. And if you want a big room by yourself, it'll be more. If you have a small little shitty bunk room, it'll be less. But probably going to be around 300-ish for 4 nights in the of
Winter
lodging in Winter Park.
Yep.
Not
counting
doesn't count
everything else.
Doesn't count travel. Doesn't count food. But shit, $300 for 4 nights at a nice thing, and then get to hang out and play board games with a bunch of awesome nerds. It's a pretty good deal.
Yeah. Think of all of the bathroom whiskey you could be drinking.
Matt said he's pretty close to having him and his wife be able to come out for it. So
Nice.
that'll be nice. Matt's cool people. That's basically everything there. We have our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/MHGameGuys. Mile High Dungeon Delvers will be streaming on Thursday. Hopefully this episode will be out sometime around then. And then we will be streaming on Friday. We don't know what yet, but we will figure something out and stream it on Friday over on our Twitch channel. That's everything. Thanks for all of the listeners who sponsored the show by pledging over on our Patreon, patreon.com/MileHighGameGuys. If you want to support the show, that's definitely one of the best ways to do so. And we certainly thank everybody who has chosen to give us money because it keeps the lights on.
Money, please.
More so, it keeps the website host, well, the podcast hosting, not the website. But I mean the website hosting too. But you can go see the old glory of the website that hasn't been updated in a while, milehighgameguys.com. Because I did at least cancel the Wix website. So now it'll probably have like built by Wix
or
spread across it somewhere.
Or pornography, most likely.
No. We still own the domain name.
Oh, that's good at least.
Yeah, I definitely haven't given up on the domain name.
Okay, good.
Not stupid.
So I've seen some podcast board game websites that have changed to porn.
Oh, we're going to have to talk about this.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. That's the end of this episode. Thanks, everybody, for listening. We're glad to be back, and we'll see you next week.
Hopefully
as always.
This makes up for all the weeks off.
Yeah. As always, I've been your host, Adrian.
I am still Zach.
And I've been drinking long enough that I feel the hangover coming in, Jeff.
Bye.
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 Punchboard Media, where we all
bring something
to the table.
pull up a chair
At punchboardmedia.com.